Hello.
Has reported that a Russian assassin has attempted to take him out. But just why did the attempt fail? And what we're really going to talk about is the larger campaign against senior leadership on both sides. Let's talk about it. So, Kharkiv, this is one of Ukraine's most elite brigades fighting primarily in and around the Kharkiv region. Their commander has been targeted in an assassination attempt. This is now, of course, the commander survived the assassination attempt reportedly because the assassin's gun jammed. The attacker himself and their accomplices were detained, and they are facing charges. The man suspected of attempting the assassination was a 69-year-old who attempted to shoot him in Kharkiv near a local barbershop. Now, the interesting part about this is that the man was allegedly recruited by Russian special services who posed as Ukrainian SBU officers and convinced this man that the officer was actually a traitor. The operatives sent him an AI-generated image showing Obolensky, the commander, standing next to the Kremlin wearing a shirt with Russian symbols. The suspect approached the brigade commander from behind, but his weapon reportedly malfunctioned at the moment of attack. A Makarov pistol and ammunition were seized from him during the arrest. The detainee also...
That's hilarious. He tried to conduct an assassination with a Makarov. Oh my god, dude. Did fucking Russians give that to him?
Said he had received the weapon from an unidentified person in Kharkiv on the instructions of his handler. This is actually kind of crazy because the law enforcement officers, right? Obviously, the assassin himself was obviously a patsy, but other people knew where the commander was going to be, provided the weapon, and likely offered some payment. Now, this is really interesting because it reflects a common trend, which is Russian intelligence services repeatedly recruiting Ukrainian citizens to carry out assassination attempts against Ukrainian military personnel and other public figures. He was betraying Ukraine. This is someone who thought he was doing Ukraine a service. And 69 years old, this is probably someone who is obviously not that sophisticated, obviously didn't even consider the possibility that a photo could be manipulated, and believed he was doing some kind of deep, important secret service. And obviously, I know we are like on this channel, by definition, you're kind of a worldly guy, right? Or statistically a worldly guy, right? The 4%. You don't understand how, one, unsophisticated some people are. Two, how a scam. Can you verify that they're real?
All right. So, fat, out-of-shape doctor complains about fucking peptides.
This may be the most controversial thing we have on this table.
Peptide plumping or nail polish?
Peptide plumping.
Let's talk peptides.
This is a peptide.
Copper peptide.
Your skin to produce more collagen.
That absolutely torches belly fat.
Rejuvenate your skin in just 7 days.
It's absolutely wild.
Are you tired of aging like a normal human being? Sick of your skin, your joints, your entire cellular structure betraying you? Well, friend, what if I told you the secret to eternal youth didn't lie in some mythical...
So he's starting the video off with a massive straw man. Nobody claims this about peptides. They have certain benefits that interest certain people, and they take them for those benefits. Like some of the more common ones, BPC 157, TB 500. A lot of people have aches, pains, injuries. They want to heal faster. Guess what? They work. There's stuff like GHKCU, that helps your skin. Again, it fucking works. That's why there's a lot of chicks using that shit. It also does help with, healing as well. A lot of people do inject that around their tendons. And, the best-selling peptides right now are the GLP-1 agonists. Those are FDA approved. They've been proven to work. Even retatrutide, which isn't FDA approved yet, but it will be FDA approved. Absolutely works. It's about as effective as bariatric surgery. And you can buy those peptides online. And again, the vast majority of peptides sold online are the peptides that have gone through randomized human controlled trials, and they fucking work. So I can tell you, this overweight fucking bloated jackass could definitely benefit from those fucking peptides. But he's making a big fucking joke out of the whole thing, even though this is massively benefiting, who knows how many fucking people. Like again, they just help you live fucking longer, and then this idiot is trying to convince his audience to not buy peptides online. Even though he's literally one of the people it would benefit.
I've got stuff for you to react to, all Palestine related. Here, here, and here.
Alright, we will react to those in a minute, Dodo. Thanks for the donation, dude.
Joining me now is women's...
There are new...
To eternal youth didn't lie in some mythical fountain. It's hiding in a guy called Dave's fridge. That's right, folks. We're talking peptides, the miracle molecules Big Pharma doesn't want you to have because they'd rather you bought off a random guy on Discord.
Yeah, they're cheaper if you buy them online from a peptide website, you fucking idiot. So why would you buy the exact same fucking drug, literally 100% identical, from a pharmacy where you're literally spending sometimes as much as 10x the fucking cost? It's not uncommon to see people paying around $800 for a month's supply of fucking Ozempic or tirzepatide when they could have gotten it for like 60, 70, 80 fucking dollars. So again, you can verify this. You can get third-party lab testing. They meet or exceed pharmaceutical fucking standards. Identical fucking drug. Let's see, should I spend $800 or $80? Huh. Like, do you want people to get healthy, lose weight, or do you want them to just, I like, just stay fat because they can't fucking afford going to a fucking pharmacy? Like, this guy's just such a fucking idiot. Change Goose donated $2. They are so dinosaur. Wow, they are dinosaur. Wow, they like pecking. That's pretty good. Very dinosaur. Oh.
Little Boris was found by hunters hundreds of kilometers away, cold, hungry, and alone.
Oh. He's just a baby.
The hunters sold him as a pet, but Sergei managed to track him down and buy him back. Now, Boris has found sanctuary at Bobonitsu.
Oh. He's so person. Oh, what a nice bear. I wish they stayed little like that. Oh. Oh my goodness. Playing with a seal. Oh wow. It's a nice chonko. Wow. Oh, that's a nice chonko. What a beautiful chonk. So chonky. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's good.
The seals really have accepted me. What an honor.
Wow. So round. That's a big elephant. I'd be a little worried. Wow.
To run.
Elephant curious. Elephant wondering. Wow, big elephant. Elephants are good. I like elephants. Thanks for the donation, dude. Dodo $20. Did Destiny give you Dan's Discord? Can you challenge him to debate now regarding his hypocrisy on animal abuse? Let me take a look. Nope. He has not. Thanks, though, Dodo.
Good. Call now 1-800-GRIFT. That's 1-800-GRIFT. Operators are definitely standing by. Side effects of unregulated grey market peptides may include, but are not limited to, swelling, bruising, injection site infection, insulin resistance.
Yeah, that's literally the effect of, like, the actual pharmaceutical agents.
Organ enlargement, mystery lumps, tumors both benign and less benign, existential regret, mirrors for urge to board body gas with details of your stack, contaminated vials, counterfeit product, and zero quality control.
But here's the thing. Behind the hype, Instagram, testimonials, the grey market, and the implausible miracle claims, there might actually be some real...
Nobody's making miracle claims. You're just a fucking idiot. Like, again, all this guy can do is straw man.
Science here, but in most cases the only way to buy them is to resort to the grey market. So are peptides really worth it or just hype? I wanted to know what the truth was behind these drugs with weird sounding names like GHKCU and BPC-157 and what was driving so many people to...
What do you think of Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi? I don't know what the fuck that is.
Buy them from unauthorized sellers. Because if even half of what's claimed to be true, what can't they do? But let's start with a true story. In the not too distant past, going to a festival meant muddy clothes, warm beer, and 1 or 2 questionable decisions. Nowadays, things are very different. Radfest, or Revolution Again.
You think that emu chick is so dinosaur? Check this out.
Wow. That eagle's very dinosaur. My goodness. Oh, wow. So dinosaur. That's amazing. Well, thank you, Dodo.
Against Aging or Dying calls itself the world's largest longevity event for a general audience. Held in Las Vegas, tickets were $400 for the 2025 event, and the
Oh, fuck. Here we go. The hypocrisy is just boundless. So, pharmaceutical companies can advertise directly to consumers in the United States. That's also true in Canada. I've seen plenty of pharmaceutical ads. So, the pharmaceutical industry can advertise all they want, make all these amazing, wonderful claims about drugs. And I mean, you can see the results of some of this shit, like the opioid epidemic. They were, and man, the gaslighting was fucking crazy. There were pharmaceutical reps going on TV saying, oh, well, these drugs aren't actually, like, addictive. People are just shaming these people who are just trying to look for relief for their pain. So it's fine when they do it, but it's a problem when they do it. I see.
Promise was, and I quote, pathways to an unlimited lifespan. Ironically, 2 women who went there ended up being rushed to the hospital. The women received...
There's footage and valid proof. You can search that the IDF has targeted livestock and sniped sheep before, but hey, Israel's not committing crimes. Thank you. You're completely and utterly retarded. That's nice.
Peptide injections and shortly thereafter developed trouble breathing to the extent that both had to be taken to the...
Those are harpy eagles. They're from the Amazon and they hunt parrots, monkeys, and sloths.
Well, that's not very good. I like those animals. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Yeah, so nobody knows what the fuck this peptide was that these women were injected with. No idea. And it's questionable whether or not they actually got an adverse reaction from the peptide or if it was like a bad injection. So the bacteriostatic water that they used was tainted with something. Who the fuck knows? I've seen plenty of news stories on this. and nobody knows exactly what gave them the reaction, what peptide they took, whether or not they actually got like something that was tainted with bacteria or whatever.
Peptide injections, and shortly thereafter developed trouble breathing to the extent that both had to be taken to the hospital. Local law enforcement later determined as many as 7 people from that conference had been hospitalized. Was it the peptide? Were the vials contaminated? Did the women simply have a bad reaction? Who knows? The Nevada Pharmacy Board certainly couldn't find the answer. But just days before the recording of this video, an advisory committee to the US Food and Drug Administration voted to make access to these compounds even easier. Despite
Yes, because if they don't, all you're going to do is push this shit underground, which will make it that much harder to fucking regulate. And the peptide market is supplying people with GLP-1 agonists, which again are saving lives. So why would you just create a big illegal fucking market full of criminals where now you can't tax these people? It makes it that much harder to track down suppliers and regulate if there's any fucking problems. And a ton of people will lose access to drugs that are preventing them from fucking dying. So that was a smart decision, you fat, bloated idiot. Dodo Donatello's found his Discord. It's Dan. So friend request. Okay, sure. I can do that. Oh, dude, it's absolutely fucking crazy. Like, this mostly started with mainstream media, and I've said this before. I think because there's there we go. I sent him a friend request. I think because the mainstream media gets so much of their funding from the pharmaceutical industry, they might have actually been pressured to run all these stories about how peptides are dangerous and shit. Like I've said this before, there has not been one single reported death linked to the use of any peptide ever. Not one. Tylenol, on the other hand, there's about 50,000 deaths per year due to Tylenol. So if we're going to have any kind of epistemic standards, is this guy going to say we need to ban Tylenol because it's clearly more fucking dangerous on the basis of, again, Tylenol causes more deaths versus any of these fucking peptides?
each one of the FDA scientists reviewing the evidence and advising against
Fuck, Mary Kill, Mamdani, Abdul El Sayed, Muhammad Ajab. Kill Muhammad Hijab, fuck Abdul El Sayed, marry Mamdani. I think it'd be easier to, like, feminize and turn Mamdani into, like, a femboy, so I'm remotely attracted to him. I kind of want to humiliate Abdul El Sayed, so he just, like, I don't know, offs himself from the shame. And, you know, kill Muhammad Ajab because he's Muhammad Ajab. Thanks for the donation, 21st.
Against every single peptide, the panel voted yes anyway. So this is not really a video about whether peptides work. It's about what happens when a market gets big enough to rewrite the rules it was breaking. Peptides are simply chains of
They weren't breaking any rules. They were unregulated to begin with.
amino acids or smaller versions of proteins. We make them naturally in our bodies, but they can also be synthesized. Insulin and GLP-1s are some of the most famous, but these are not the peptides people are getting excited about in 2026.
Yeah, I've been taking retatrutide, TB500, and melanotan and growth hormone.
Like the original iPhone ads, whatever problem you have, there's a peptide for that.
There's an app for that.
Well,
by the way, like, why the fuck is this? For one thing, this isn't entirely untrue, but why the hell is this guy finding some random fucking influencer talking about peptides, who's clearly not particularly well educated? Okay, you can find influencers talking about literally any fucking drug that again is FDA approved, has gone through human trials, and they can give you misinformation. So, are we gonna, search some random idiot on YouTube who gives bad advice on some drug and say, oh, see, don't take this drug? Like, somebody could make a bad video on fucking insulin. Oh, he gave misinformation on insulin. So that means if you're diabetic, don't take insulin because a random influencer doesn't know anything about insulin. Like, what? Like what matters is whether or not these drugs work for any given purpose.
And their talons are longer than a grizzly bear's claws. Just look at them.
Yes, that's pretty amazing. They're definitely dinosaurs.
In her life.
Thanks for the donation, Dodo. 21st, only tell her so you turn Mom Donnie into your bocce boy. Yeah, basically. Only he's not like 9 years old. Thanks, dude.
Like the original iPhone ads, whatever problem you have,
I can guarantee you with 100% certainty you can afford steroids. They're dirt fucking cheap. They cost like nothing.
There's a peptide for that.
There's an app for that.
Well, what am I?
If you can afford creatine, you can afford steroids. Like, I'm still gonna make that video talking about the cost of steroids. Like again, especially when you're talking about like just starting out on moderate cycles, anybody can afford that. Once you start talking about like pro bodybuilder doses where they're taking like 2 grams plus of gear, including HGH, yeah, a lot of people wouldn't be able to afford that. But when you're talking about like 500 milligrams of gear, anybody can fucking afford that. Anybody.
What I'm about to say doesn't apply to GLP-1 agonists and insulin, which we know are safe and effective. For the rest of this video, I'm going to focus on all the other peptides TikTok is going crazy for. One of the most popular is BPC-157. This is a synthetic version of a peptide naturally produced in the stomach, which is supposed to aid the healing of damaged tissues, particularly tendons, ligaments, and muscles. And the evidence of this? Here's Dr. Andrew Huberman.
To my knowledge, there is only one study on humans, and it's not a clinical trial, and frankly, it's not the best performed study, and that's putting it mildly.
This lack of evidence in humans is worth...
So, here's something that all these fucking, like, self-righteous dorks always ignore.
Don't you want to see the cute little eaglet?
No,
EG?
I don't. I'm done. Thanks, Dodo. Yeah, that's the Dona bar from early on stream. So here's something that these, like, again, self-righteous, I'm so smart fucking dorks, like they're so dishonest about this. If something works, it works. So, and like, especially if it has a high magnitude of effect, you're going to know it works. So creatine, it has a low enough magnitude of effect that a lot of people who take creatine, they just won't notice a difference. Like, that's something that you will need to perform randomized trials on to actually determine if it works better than placebo. If you take, like, a very, very fucking powerful drug, like testosterone, you do not need to perform randomized trials to know that it fucking works. You start injecting testosterone, you will get bigger and fucking stronger very fucking quickly. I grew 20 pounds of muscle mass in only 2 months, only taking 200 milligrams a week. That's a very small fucking dose. That's what a lot of dudes have just for, like, testosterone replacement therapy. You're not even, like, fucking blasting gear at that point. So, if we lived in some alternate universe or something where testosterone was only developed just recently, it has yet to go through randomized trials, and like again, same thing with the peptide industry right now. Testosterone ended up being sold on the gray market, where you have all these, like, biohacking bros taking test and then telling you all about how great test is, what it does. Well, just the fact that you see that they're bigger and fucking stronger and just out of nowhere blow the fuck up, you know testosterone works. So same thing with a lot of these peptides like BPC. It has a high enough magnitude of effect that you know it fucking works. People have had lingering injuries that just wouldn't fucking heal for a long ass time. They start taking BPC or TB500, which I think is actually a bit better. And their injuries heal. Their joints are better. Like especially these ligament and tendon injuries. So, there's no randomized trials. Well, great. People take it. It fucking works. Get the fuck over it.
Worth double clicking on. There are more than 100 studies on the effect of BPC 157 on rats and precisely 0 on humans. A phase 1 trial with 42 volunteers was registered in 2015 and cancelled. No results were ever published nor any explanation given.
It was canceled because the drug couldn't be patented, and there was no way to make money off of it. That's why it was canceled.
Human efficacy study the FDA could find when it reviewed BPC 157 in July of 2026 was a conference abstract looking at 46 people where it was delivered as an enema. I'm only glad I haven't seen any of those TikToks. So remember, whenever you hear anyone talking about BPC 157's miraculous effects, virtually all of that evidence comes from animal studies, not humans.
So again, people are taking the fucking drug. Like cigarettes have never gone through randomized human trials. The only reason we know cigarettes are so harmful is because of just population data. We just look at people who've smoked for a while, and we look at the incidences of heart disease and cancer, and what do you know? People who smoke have higher instances of lung cancer and fucking heart disease. Again, you can look at the people who are using BPC, they heal faster. I don't know why this is so fucking hard for people to understand.
One thing we do know about BPC 157 in animals is that it promotes angiogenesis, the growth of new blood vessels, partly by increasing growth hormone or IGF-1 signaling. This is what helps the tissues recover. Sounds great, but growing new blood vessels isn't always a good thing. If someone has an active cancer or even a suspected malignancy, the last thing they need is extra blood vessels.
So this is like absolutely fucking retarded. This is the like dumb brain rot, I'm an idiot, be scared of everything argument against BPC. So first of all, where the fuck are people injecting BPC? They're injecting it around the site of injury. So, my knees hurt. They're going to inject the BPC around their knees. My elbows hurt. They're going to inject it around their elbows. My shoulders hurt. They're going to inject it around their shoulders. Those aren't really sites where cancer forms. Secondly, cancer itself triggers angiogenesis. So why would you be worried about taking a drug that triggers angiogenesis when the cancer cells themselves just do that on their own anyway? That's how they survive and proliferate. Secondly, BPC isn't the only thing that triggers angiogenesis. Hard, vigorous exercise triggers angiogenesis. That is a natural process that happens in your fucking body as an adaptation to exercise. So is this guy saying exercise will increase your risk of cancer via angiogenesis? Like it's just so fucking stupid. And by the way, there are people who've been taking BPC literally for decades. What do you know? They don't have cancer yet. Go figure. And like we literally sell shit that causes cancer. You can just go down to the liquor store, buy alcohol. You can go to the gas station, buy fucking cigarettes. Perfectly legal, unregulated. You have to show your ID. You have to be a certain age, but otherwise, yeah, it's not regulated. You don't have to get a prescription for it or anything. You can just buy as much cigarettes, buy as much alcohol as you want. So why is it okay to literally sell known cancer-causing agents, but BPC, where there's no plausible mechanism in which it can actually trigger cancer? Oh, well, we should ban BPC and and create like this big black market and make everybody a criminal for no reason because I'm an idiot and I just assume it might cause cancer because I don't know how angiogenesis works. Stipped. If Abdul El Sayed wins the Dem primary in Michigan, what chance do you think he'll win against the Republican in the general election? 0. I think it's 50-50. You'll say 1-2% chance, and then when he wins, you'll say, don't remember ever saying that, right? No, I'll just say I was wrong, but yeah, 0. These, like, dude, it's America. There are so many normie, everyday fucking working stiffs that don't like Islam, don't like immigrants, don't like other fucking cultures, don't like their fucking anti-cop, pro-crime bullshit, and they're just not going to vote for these people. They're just whack jobs, and they don't appeal to your average voter. So they're always going to fail every fucking time and time again. Look what happened to Bernie Sanders. There's a reason why he just completely and utterly failed. It's because people like that just don't appeal to your average voter.
So encouraging the growth of a tumor. And this is what I keep coming back to. In a clinic, this conversation happens as a matter of course before anyone goes near a needle. You'll be asked about your clinical history, any unexplained bleeding, or weight loss. The problem is people aren't getting their BPC 157 from a doctor.
Why are you asking me how I feel about HGH? I'm taking it, so what do you fucking think?
They're getting it from some dodgy website they found on TikTok. BPC 157 isn't unique in this regard. It's the same story with many of the peptides trending on social media. Yes, there may be a few animal studies, some small-scale human trials, and plenty of anecdotes. What all these peptides do have in common is that none of them have large-scale trial data supporting their efficacy, with
yeah, again, these people love to fucking lie. Again, the majority of peptides sold online are GLP-1 agonists. That's the vast majority of their income. So all the other stuff like TB500, BPC, GHKCU, you name it, that's maybe like 20-30% of their sales. The bulk of it, the rest of it is GLP-1 agonists. So, like, it's like they're playing this game where they're trying to make you fear these peptide websites so that you don't find out, oh, they're actually selling proven, efficacious drugs that will actually help save my life and allow me to live longer.
One exception that I'm actually really excited about and will tell you about later. But first, I wanted to know what was actually in those vials. I decided to try find that out for myself. It wasn't hard. Notice the disclaimer, products are for research purposes only. They are not intended for human use. I found this disclaimer cropping up time and time again.
None of this is for...
Holy fucking shit. That's the only way they can legally sell them with a research chemical exemption, you fucking asshole. So, like, again, this is just a fear-mongering tactic. Oh, it literally says on the website, don't take it, but you're taking it anyway. That means it's dangerous. Yes, let's ignore the fact that's the only way they can legally sell it. It has nothing to do with whether or not the product's safe.
For human consumption, this is all research-based.
Notice in this step-by-step guide for reconstituting peptides, the creator forgot to add those crucial words, for research, when talking about which needle to use and had to add them back in for fear of being seen.
People typically use the 0.5 for research
as offering medical advice. This is the only way influencers can get around the rules preventing them from promoting or selling peptides.
They're not getting around the rules. That is the rule, you asshole.
On social media. When influencers post videos about how to reconstitute freeze-dried peptides and inject them while simultaneously stating their content is for research purposes only, we all know what's really going on. But set the law aside for a second. What's actually in those vials? Because most of these gray market drugs are being made in contract labs, mostly in China.
Like, dude, this reminds me of the shit that happened in the Soviet Union, where, like, they all played this weird game where everyone knew, everyone was lying, everyone was scamming, but, like, they all played this fucking game where, oh, glorious Soviet Union, so much better than capitalism, we're all broke and we can barely get any fucking food and we have beet rations and the government's stealing all our fucking money to enrich themselves, but oh, glorious Soviet Union. Oh, I love being part of the proletariat and contributing to the most glorious society. Like, the fact that these rules exist with the research exemption, but everyone knows what's going on. People are just using it for personal use. Why even fucking bother? It's just stupid. Like, it's just anti-freedom.
Operating outside good manufacturing practice, GMP, with no sterility testing, no endotoxin testing, and no batch reports. A Belgian team led by Sten Hanvier took the 10 most frequently seized falsified peptide drugs on their
Most of the Dems will suck it up and vote for him. Muslim population in Michigan has pretty much doubled in the last 10 years. Republicans won't turn out in big numbers. Abdul will win. That's nice. Thanks for the donation.
market from 3 suspected illegal internet pharmacies and pulled them apart. And here's what they found. Purity for these cysteine-containing peptides was between 5 and 75%. Multiple samples.
So again, this is the most retarded fucking shit imaginable. If you scour the armpits of the internet and buy shit from like weird dodgy ass peptide websites where they're advertising on Facebook, they have a really weird bizarre landing page. They only allow you to pay in like fucking cryptocurrency. They don't give you a tracking link. They don't show you any third-party testing results. Yeah, no shit, you're gonna fucking order garbage. This is just the case for e-commerce. Plenty of shit online is fucking faked. Like, even on Amazon, I've had to be careful with ordering camera equipment off of Amazon. Because Amazon doesn't really do that much due diligence, and plenty of counterfeit products are sold on Amazon. Does that mean, like, you're going to tell people don't ever buy anything on the internet because, oh, look, a certain percentage of it is fucking faked. It's just Chinese fucking garbage that's going to fall apart. No, you just buy from reputable fucking sellers. Same with peptides. I don't know why people's brains turn off. Like again, the same due diligence you would use ordering something off the fucking internet for anything else, why don't you just use that same due diligence when you're ordering fucking peptides? It's just so stupid.
Can you EPLS not going mad and crazy? You are not even crazy, you only think you are crazy. You look amazing, but can you stop training neck? You will only look more narrow. PLS stop. You look great, brother. I invite you to Norway, member.
I'm not going to go to Norway, but thank you, HIV. Gee.
Samples were contaminated with lead and arsenic above international toxicity limits for injectables, and when they analyzed the arsenic to determine which chemical form it was in, all of it came back as carcinogenic. The same group were also able to grow Bacillus cereus, a bacterium that causes food poisoning, from samples taken from 2 vials. And in a 2024 analysis of online semaglutide vendors, all of whom were advertising 99% purity, actual content was between 7 and 14%. But every
again, I've already made the argument. Buy from reputable vendors.
single sample tested positive for a toxic molecule called endotoxin. Normally, tiny amounts of endotoxin are produced by the bacteria in your gut, and that is where they stay, kept safely away from the bloodstream by the gut barrier. However, when you inject endotoxin straight into the blood, it can produce fever, a collapse in blood pressure, and a full inflammatory response.
So I don't know why he's saying this. You don't inject peptides intravenously. They're either injected intramuscularly or subcutaneously. You don't inject them into the vein.
That might require hospitalization. So let's go back to that Las Vegas story. 2 women.
How do you square your belief that we'll need to have some kind of universal basic high income or have free goods services when AI takes all the jobs while saying communism will never work? Isn't that kind of communism just like in 10, 20 years? No. So the productivity that machines we develop are doing is just going to be given to us. That's not communism. So it's basically like if you were to design your own worker robot, and rather than showing up to work, your worker robot shows up to work, does your job for you, and you get the money. There's also likely going to be some ways around this where people will work and like maybe get some kind of income just through some sort of other means. So rather than getting some kind of income based off of, like, I don't know how many fucking license plates you can stamp in a fucking hour or something, people may get paid based off of just helping people. So, like, this already is a thing, actually. In Canada, in the UK, parts of Europe, and I think even in the United States, if you have, like, a family member that needs caring for, you can actually submit, like, a form basically saying you're working as a carer for a family member and you can get compensated for that. So there could be stuff like that where just like socializing, giving people, I don't know, mental health help, creating artwork, stuff like that, that might also just create a totally new economy where people get compensated based on that type of work. Who the fuck knows? But no, it's not communism because actual productive work is being done. It's just the work you would be doing is just being done by a machine. Thanks, though.
Started Rita, just 1 milligram to see how I tolerate it and no issues at all. Will be increasing it on Monday. Why did you go with TB 500 over BCP 157? I've been having right shoulder issues many years, especially shows up when I am consistent with lifting weight.
From what I could tell, TB500 is more effective, and from my own personal experience, it has been more effective. I've used both, but I would say they both work. It's just I find TB500 to be more effective. Thanks for the donation, though, Alan. You look like 2010 bald Randy Orton when lean. Pretty cool. I don't know who that is, but thank you. What I'm saying is you can run just about any Democratic candidate, and there's a good likelihood they'll win because of the overall political environment, Trump being so unpopular, and if they happen to be socialists, then that will embolden them. Whatever, we'll see, thanks.
Went to a longevity conference hoping to live longer. Instead, they ended up in a hospital, and we still don't know why. And that is precisely the problem. Once you step outside the regulated medicine supply chain, answers become almost impossible to find. There's no batch number to trace, no manufacturer to sue, no record it even existed. For research purposes only isn't just a warning, it's a transfer of liability from the manufacturer to you. Because you're the one who injected yourself when they told you not to.
Guess what? We're all adults. We can assume our own risks. If we have the agency to decide to take cigarettes or alcohol, then we have the agency to use peptides.
And now all the legal consequences are on your head, with your only recourse being to leave a 0-star review. All of which brings us back to one question: why would anyone take the risk? The answer to that question lies in a fundamental change in the cultural landscape over the last few years, a change that my profession is having a hard time into accepting. On the one hand, we have more tools than ever to optimize our health, supplements, trackers, and apps for everything. And thanks to social media, the average person...
Like, I just can't get over this. This guy wants to be a health educator, and he's fucking obese. GLP-1 agonists exist. I am sure he has the resources to get prescribed a GLP-1 agonist if he really wanted to, and has the finances to afford it. And this guy is still obese. And then he's fear-mongering about peptides when we know how bad obesity is for you. Like, give me a fucking break. Do you actually want to be taken seriously? Oh wow, he finally uploaded it. Let's react and read comments.
I'm gonna go full race realist on this one.
Well, I'm not reacting to it. I've already seen it. Vegan Gains is my favorite side character. Can't listen to 90 minutes of Vegan Gains when there's a genocide happening. Oh boy. Someone find D's tweet. Completely missed the first Mouton era. Nobody's even talking about anything. I can't tell genuinely if I despise Vegan Gains for his absolutely diabolical views on the world, which applied to real world would kill many people. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Or I love him for how honest he is about everything he says. This guy is insane, but in this space, the fuck are, like, what the fuck are they even saying? VG is actually correct about the jizya. Historically speaking, Wikipedia description Destiny Red is technically correct. It's not. We looked up the Wikipedia definition. It had nothing to do with jizya being a move forward in human rights. Jizya is what was viewed as oppressive. Like, yeah, we know that. Like, Muslims literally admit it. It's in their fucking Quran. Yeah, like, his community is just a bunch of fucking idiots. Thanks, Dodo. Look at the thumbnail of the Destiny video. He definitely saw yours.
I'm gonna go.
How do I see this? Oh, yeah. I see. Thanks, Dodo.
Person has access to more health information than ever before. But here is the paradox.
I'm a lot bigger than Randy Orton. He's also like a white guy. I don't know how the fuck I look like him.
You know, VG, I would like to feed these pro-Palestinian losers to that mother eagle and her chick.
I would too. Thank you, Dodo.
At exactly the same time we have access to more health information, trust in physicians and healthcare has collapsed. Just 42% of Americans say they trust their doctor compared
Yeah, that's because doctors are fucking retards.
to more than 70% in 2020. People no longer just ask their doctor what they should do. They Google their symptoms, ask ChatGPT for advice, and turn to
By the way, ChatGPT is becoming more accurate at diagnosing conditions than doctors are.
influencers for the answers. When you do get to see a doctor, you get an appointment that lasts 5 minutes. You're told you're just stressed and might wait years for a valid diagnosis. Women in particular get disbelieved at a rate that's indefensible. If that's been your experience of healthcare, a website offering a peptide for $60 doesn't feel like a scam, it feels empowering. And there's one other reason that explains the explosion of interest in peptides. Just like lockdown showed us home working was not just viable but profitable, so the massive success of GLP-1s has shown us that self-injection at home is manageable and people will pay huge amounts of money to optimize their health rather than just treat disease. This is genuinely a new cultural position and peptides occupy a curious place in it. Not exactly illegal, not quite legal either. Masses of hype, but
They are, in fact, legal. I don't know why they say this.
no safe way to obtain them. At least that was the position until Thursday, 23rd of July 2026. But what happened that day changed everything. The FDA's Pharmacy Compounding Advisory Committee met for 2 days to decide whether 7 peptides should go on something called 503A bulks list. Quickly, compounding pharmacies are the ones that mix custom medicines for individual patients. The 503A list controls which raw ingredients they're allowed to use. In 2023, the FDA put these peptides in a category, meaning do not compound, citing significant safety risks. The question that day was whether to undo that. Ahead of the meeting, the FDA's career scientists published their reviews. 7 peptides, 4 statutory criteria each, and their conclusion every time was the same. Do not add it. Their reasoning, over and over, little or no human data, poor characterization of the substance itself, and concerns about contamination.
Right. So, let's just have China make all the shit. Brilliant idea.
And immunogenicity. For 3 of the 7, there was no human data at all. Then the panel voted. BPC 157, 8 yes, 6 no, 1 abstention. Recommended. KPV, same split. Recommended. TB.
Like, again, people have been taking the shit for decades. There is literally not one single reported death. Why is it surprising they would say, yeah, whatever, we can allow American pharmacies to compound this? Especially knowing, again, people are going to get the shit anyway from weird, random fucking websites that you can't really verify the safety of. So you have 2 options here. Allow American pharmacies to compound something that we're pretty goddamn fucking sure is safe and has no fucking issues, or don't let China be the sole supplier. And again, just as you pointed out, there are in fact bad peptides coming out of fucking China, or who the fuck knows where. Some of the shit might be coming from fucking India, like the real trash that he was talking about. Like, this is just fucking stupid.
B500, same split, recommended. MOTS C, 7, 5, 2 abstentions, recommended. The following day, Epitalon, recommended. Semax, recommended. Emideltide was the only one to fail by a single vote. In June, the roster of this committee was overhauled. According to the Associated Press reporting, the panel convened for this meeting included at least 7 doctors or pharmacists with financial ties to the peptide industry, owners of wellness clinics that sell peptides, pharmacies that make.
Oh, so they would know better than you whether or not these peptides are fucking dangerous, right?
Them, consultancies that promote them. 8 new members were added ahead of the vote. On 3 of the 4 Thursday peptides, all 8 voted yes. 6 other members.
So you can look at this 2 ways. Oh, there's financial bias. They just did it because they want to make money off this shit. Or like, gee, they have experience in this fucking industry and they've worked with fucking clients and they know the shit is safe. Dodo, here's some of the comments. That random guy was such a dumbass. I was cringing so hard. Absolute vegan victory on this one. Kind of wanted to hate on vegan gains, but he definitely brutalized this naked streak. Vegan gains dog walking. Well, that's nice. Thanks, Dodo.
Voted no. Now, I should say the Department of Health and Human Services insists every member went through standard ethics and vetting. But it's hard not to come to the obvious conclusion. Financial analysts had already priced this. Their estimate of the telehealth marketing opportunity if these 7 peptides cleared, $2.2 billion. After the BPC 157 vote, shares in one telehealth company rose more than 10%. The peptides were not tested on Thursday, they were valued. Now, I have to be honest about something. The argument the yes vote made is not stupid. In fact, it's the strongest argument in this entire debate, and it goes like this. Millions of people are already injecting these compounds. That is a fact, and no vote changes that. Right now, they are buying 5% pure vials with inorganic arsenic in them from an anonymous website. One doctor testified that a colleague had photographed a bodega in Queens, New York, selling peptides over the counter. So if you say no, you do not stop peptide use. You just guarantee it happens with no prescription, no oversight, no sterility standard, and no doctor. But here's why I still don't support this decision. Being on the 503A list is not an approval. It is not proof of efficacy or safety. It means a pharmacy may legally use the ingredient. That is all. But nobody hears it that way. Within 24 hours, a publicly traded peptide company put out a press release applauding the vote and had already manufactured a run of 20,000 BPC 157 patches. Second, and this is the one that actually worries me.
See, Dodo.
All these people have been told that they're not going to be able to get asylum here, so they're being turned around and sent back right there. No, they're not letting people stay. That's what the police have told us.
Everyone should be leave. My work is no.
Everyone, they're making everybody leave.
You can tell they're fucking inbred.
But some people here in Kuzrucha go to Spain.
You can see, but most of them are walking this way because the police and the military have forced them to leave. The military says that they're not letting people stay, that you have to go back.
What about if many people stay here? No problem.
So your hope is that you'll be able to stay here?
Yeah. There's no problem.
So you read a news article that said that if you came here, you could claim asylum and live in Spain. And you read that and then you decided to swim over.
It says Spain is open the door.
It said Spain has opened the door. This was on social media.
Yeah.
On what, on Twitter or Instagram? Or?
Facebook, Instagram. Everyone wants to be here.
Why don't you want to go home to Morocco?
No. Morocco. No, Morocco.
There's no money in Morocco.
If you have a family, children like that, you can be happy all the life.
Do you have a family?
Yeah. My mother, but should be do something to live.
Yep. All of these people are fake asylum seekers. This asylum bullshit is just fucking retarded. Oh my goodness. Wow. Kitties are chilly. This is not 35 kilograms. Yeah, that's 35 pounds, if that. Why does anybody think that's 35 kilograms? He lives in the States. They use pounds. I don't even know if those are real weights, honestly. Like, he's pretty skinny. Like, 35 isn't that much. Bro, it's fucking crazy. This guy's been on steroids for this long, and he's like... Bro. I swear the first, like, 2 months training naturally, I was already bigger than him. Yeah, you're literally not showing off any muscle. Yeah, there's no muscle there, dude. You should just put your shirt back on. That's embarrassing.
Controversial pied-à-terre tax tonight is causing a lot of confusion and frustration. The tax targets multimillionaires who own expensive second homes in New York City. Here's the confusing part. The city recently sent notices to 17,000 residents that they may, and the key word is may, owe the tax. It is putting the burden on residents to prove that they do not owe the new assessment. Otherwise, they have to pay it. You can imagine the reaction. Here's Eyewitness News reporter N.J. Burkett.
It's been said that you can't fight City Hall, but try telling that to thousands of New Yorkers who may be facing 5- and 6-figure tax surcharges because the city thinks that their primary homes may be secondary homes and subject to Mayor Mamdani's so-called pied-à-terre tax.
What people are really saying is, this is not fair. I shouldn't have to pay this.
Real estate attorney Ben Williams says the city is casting a wide net in its hunt for luxury second homes, putting thousands of homeowners on notice that they could be subject to the tax and giving them a deadline to prove they're not.
You're guilty until proven innocent. They're going to assume it's not a primary residence unless you can prove otherwise.
Today, we're taxing the rich.
Sounds kind of illegal.
Earlier this year, the mayor insisted the goal was simple.
This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich.
Yesterday, he defended the administration's approach.
One of the reasons that this is being done now is to ensure that New Yorkers have requisite time.
So I'll tell you why they're doing it this way. They're hoping that there's a lot of rich people who can't be fucked to, bother proving that it's not a second home, or they'll be unaware that they're going to have to pay this tax or something like that. And they'll just be able to get in extra tax revenue by just stealing from these people. That's the only fucking reason. There's no fucking tax system anywhere that fucking works like this, where you have to prove that you don't have to pay a fucking tax. That's just bizarre.
Before the implementation of the surcharge, they have until next March to be able to go back and forth with the department to ensure that this is an accurate reflection.
You have to now go and upload your income tax returns, your utility bills, and say your driver's license, your voter records, which are all mostly government records. The government already has that information.
Jim Whalen is the president of the Real Estate Board of New York, which opposed the tax.
The administration was not prepared to start to roll out this complex tax and seek to administer it. And we're a little concerned it's not going to get much better in the continued implementation.
Mamdani says 24 staffers are being hired to help homeowners navigate the system. The filing deadline for exemption.
It's literally just theft. They're just trying to steal from people. Total joke.
Of course, housing is the big crisis in the city. People's rents keep going up each and every year, and people feel like they can't afford the city and are moving out. So the mayor really seems to be trying to answer the question of why you're seeing that vacant lot and why it's not being more aggressively turned into something like an apartment building you might be able to live in. Riding atop a double-decker bus, Mayor Zohran Mamdani and his team played tour guide, highlighting 3 types of housing developments that are examples of what the city is hoping to build.
There's a lot of land across this city that is not being used to its fullest potential to keep people in this city.
To better give New Yorkers and developers a better idea of what the city has to offer, the mayor's office is launching a land inventory fast-track website, LIFT for short. On the site, you can see all the property the city owns, and this map in gray shows all the vacant land the city controls. But not all vacant land is created equal. Some is literally underwater or too awkwardly shaped to be easily developed. Although there are some 100 locations on this map in blue the city feels could be good for developing into some 50,000 units of housing.
We are going to explore every option we have in front of us because creativity is going to be a necessary part of ensuring that we are finally building enough housing for the greatest city in the world, because what we've
government developed housing is just a fucking joke. It's always more expensive, always goes over budget. It just wastes fucking money. Just let private developers develop.
seen for far too long is it's been since 1961 that we've had a recognition of what we need to build to keep the city growing to its fullest potential.
Now, the ultimate goal of Mayor Mamdani surely is to create...
Fucking idiot. Well, so much for New York.
Long term. A former FDA Associate Commissioner made this point in testimony, and it is the sharpest thing anyone has said in 2 days. Allowing these to be compounded removes the incentive to ever run the trial. Any company that might have gone and generated real safety and efficacy data now has no reason to, because it can simply sell.
They didn't have any reason to before. They're generic medications. They can't be patented.
Or the compound instead. Think about what that means. The reason we don't know whether BPC 157 works is that nobody has run the study, and the fix that has just been recommended makes it less likely that anyone ever will. And now the part where I stop pointing outwards. I am an influencer. I accept that. I have millions of followers. I have a supplement company. Every single incentive that operates on a peptide seller also operates on me. Attention, trust, conversion. The rise in health misinformation and the rise of people like me are the same phenomenon. I am not adjacent to this problem, I am inside it. But there is one difference I want to claim: falsifiability. And I will tell you what would change my mind. Just like I have done the clinical studies on my own product for BPC 1.
Dodo, let me see.
The Trump administration is taking back what they said about vandals who they accused of destroying the reflecting pool on the National Mall this summer. Remember, Donald Trump had that pool drained and then had a liner put on it by contractors very hastily in May and June because he wanted the pool to look nice for the July 4th celebration. That was drawing people to the National Mall. They were looking at the pool. It was filling with algae and the liner was peeling up throughout. One of those people was an ex-Olympian named David Hearn. He was arrested on the spot and accused by the park police of peeling up some of that liner. And then later, just before the 4th of July, Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. attorney in Washington, she indicted David Hearn.
Oh, he damaged it.
Further, but do you believe it had already been damaged before?
He damaged the pool.
Now, just this Friday, Pirro and her office say they didn't have all the facts about how badly the construction work was on the reflecting pool liner, that it had been peeling up before Davy Hearn was ever arrested on the National Mall, and that they needed to drop the criminal case against him. He had been indicted for a felony in Washington, D.C., and had a number of supporters saying he was just...
Yeah, that's pretty fucking retarded.
Palantir's software as a service product that we are deploying across the entire department. As you can see, it's not just one data feed, it's multiple. And instead of having 8 or 9 systems for those decision makers to look at every single day in order for them to make decisions, you then fuse it into a single visualization tool. The single visualization tool allows you to select, deselect different types of data, look at different approaches to data, but more importantly, action from the same system that you're trying to develop your workflows around. Once you have a detection that you want to actually move into a targeting workflow, for example, this is what we do. Left click, right click, left click, magically, it becomes a detection. That detection then gets moved into a workflow. This is standard digitized workflow, but I want to walk you through it quickly. You have different types of targets that are identified on the left there. Every single column produces a different type of decision-making process. Once you have that decision and you're trying to actually action that process, we now move into COA generation, course of action generation, where we are automatically, via a number of factors, trying to identify what the best asset to prosecute a target looks like.
Cool.
Is reporting that Trump has ordered a new bombing campaign against Iran, including strikes on the nation's energy infrastructure and oil refineries, with the strikes beginning as soon as this weekend and in coordination with Israel. Of course, this comes right after the D.C. visit of Netanyahu, the one who convinced Trump to start this war in the first place. And now it looks like he's convinced Trump that another round of senseless bombing, bringing even more death and destruction, will somehow force Iran to its knees. Trump, you know, has accused the Iranian diplomats of being very dishonorable to deal with. The irony is staggering.
Yeah, they lied about every fucking agreement they made.
It was the United States that started this war, that killed Iran's supreme leader, that killed the very...
Great. That's nice. Rot, you bitch. Animal liberation, let me see. Oh my goodness. Oh. It's a nice wombat. Wow. What a big, chunky, cuddly wombat. You know, they have square poops. They're cool. That's a nice chonko. Oh my goodness. I'd like to cuddle a wombat. They look nice. Look how chunky. Look at his hands. Oh my god. Thanks, Animal Liberation.
157, we need at least one adequately powered, randomized, placebo-controlled trials in humans with a real clinical endpoint. Tendon healing on imaging, colitis remission rates, something measurable in a person, not a rat, and that a competing lab could actually go and check. That's repeatable. It is precisely for this reason I ran 2 trials for my own fiber supplement to prove efficacy and show trust in an industry that doesn't show it. That is not a high bar. In fact, it is laughably low. It is the bar insulin clear.
This guy sells a fucking fiber supplement. Dude, you could eat fruits and vegetables and this fucking idiot sells a fiber supplement. Like, buddy, you're fucking fat and you're selling a fiber supplement. Like, I just can't get the fuck over it.
Cleared a century ago, and semaglutide cleared last decade. And it's about that one peptide I'm really optimistic about is currently scaling, retatrutide. Retatrutide, or Reta, is a 3-in-1 agonist, meaning it activates GLP receptors like GLP-1 drugs, but it also works on GIP and glucagon. It's in phase 3 trials at the moment, conducted by the pharmaceutical company Lilly, and has seen super impressive weight loss results so far. 28.3% average body weight lost over 80 weeks in more than 2,000 people. Lilly says it plans to file with the FDA next year, and this is exactly the kind of evidence we need for any peptide, but it's currently...
So guess what? If retatrutide was in the same set of circumstances as all these other peptides, like BPC, never got any human trials, guess what we'd find out? It fucking works. So, yeah.
Currently lacking for nearly all of them. Just be aware this peptide is only available to people taking part in clinical trials, which is interesting given the
How am I getting it then, dipshit?
fact that it's all over TikTok. Lilly themselves are clear that anyone buying retatrutide is not getting it from them and running the risk of taking who knows what. So if anyone runs
get third-party testing done, you fucking retard.
a similar trial for BPC 157 and it is positive, I will make a follow-up video saying I was wrong. I will not enjoy it, but I'll make it anyway. Until then, what is being sold to you is not a treatment. It is simply a hypothesis with a payment link. And speaking of grifters, there's no shortage of grifters in the supplement industry as well. So if you'd like to know which supplements I ranked on the...
That was nice and retarded.
New and disturbing reports out of Iran that prisoners have gone on hunger strikes and sewn their lips shut as the public executions of dissidents have occurred. The executions in the Islamic Republic of Iran have not attracted as much media coverage as they deserve, of course. The
Have you heard about this? It's not just commies trying to push authoritarian bullshit, it's also Christian conservatives pushing authoritarianism. If this shit passes, we won't have free internet anymore.
A Texas judge just ordered Discord to turn on age verification checks it built for the UK, by the way. But don't worry, there's a lot more that I'm going to cover in this video. We also have the Screen Act that is going to be voted on within the Senate on August 5th of this month, just a few days from now. And as you all know, this is the same act and the Coast Act and everything that was passed within the House of Representatives about a month and a half to 2 months ago. That was very scary because the fact that it came out of nowhere, people were like blindsided by the law just going into the House of Representatives and was passed with a landslide. Now the Senate's voting on this, which means that if this passes, it's not good. And judging by the way it's looking, it might pass. There's always a chance it might not. And there is ways to contact your local senator, which here is the number if you want to stop this before it happens. I highly recommend anyone that does not want forced age verification.
Yeah. I don't even know what the hell they're getting out of this age verification thing. It's really weird. It's just government spying. Thanks, Q.
Barbarity of this regime, the regime behind all of the terrorism and missile attacks on Israel, doesn't seem to fit with the media zeitgeist. But some of the horror within Iran has escaped, including pictures of one of the young dissidents. Now, I'm about to show you these pictures, and I've got to warn you, they are disturbing. One of the young dissidents showing the brave young man signalling defiance to the crowds in the city of Isfahan 2 days ago, before his executioners place a black hood over his face. Yeah, we won't show you any more of that horror. It's obvious what followed. But that barbarity and the apparent opposition from the crowds is all we know about what's happening in Iran at the moment. So let me bring in Australian Iranian activist Tina Kudrostami, who has been here a number of times. Good to see you again, Tina. Those pictures coming out of Iran, it's so good that we're getting some sense.
What are your thoughts on Jesus being God? Nowhere in the Bible does it indicate that Jesus is God, and it makes no fucking sense. Just retarded. Think the idea is goofy and outdated, but like to hear your thoughts. Wiki says Richard Swinburne made the idea highly probable. And have you ever seen black Christians? I look up TD Jakes preach and watch their behavior. Yeah, I've seen black Christians. There's plenty of them. Thanks, Turtle Tits. Appreciate it.
Of what's going on there, but it must be so confronting and disheartening. Share your thoughts with us first up.
Well, finally, we're having some obvious, pieces of evidence that we can share with the West, because time and time again, we've been questioned with the information that we are sharing. So showing these videos, it's painful, but it speaks for everything we've been talking about for the last few months. What we just saw right now, there was a protest because of those executions.
Well, according to Code Pink, they deserved it. Let Iran execute innocent people.
And about 300 people were taken into custody, 200 were injured. There's another 4 executions coming up in Isfahan as well. As you mentioned, there's a hunger strike going on within one of our Qais al-Hissar prisons. These individuals, they are, substance abuse.
Party of Freedom, my ass.
Yeah, not really. Like, honestly, Democrats and liberals tend to be worse with spying and shit. Like, just look at what's going on in Canada. The liberals are trying to pass all these insane spying bills where VPNs have to, like basically are non-functional. They're trying to make it so you can't use a VPN and the government can just spy on you. That's the liberal government here. So, thanks, Dodo.
They haven't gone out killing anyone or anything of the sort, and they will all be facing execution. But even the individuals who are facing execution that may have, killed an officer, which is what they're being accused of. Why is it that suddenly in the West we are now supportive of an execution? Why is it that we don't show any outrage anymore to this barbaric method of dealing with the law?
Well, it's called commie social justice warriors like Code Pink.
It is barbaric. It's done in public. It's advertised, and they lift people by their necks in the street.
Yeah.
Forum Australia's head of advocacy, Stephanie Bastian. Stephanie, let's start with Billboard Chris, a friend of this program. He is now in Australia. He's here for court hearings in Melbourne, along with social media platform X. Both of them are challenging the eSafety Commissioner's censorship of a post expressing criticism of gender ideology and Australian trans activist Teddy Cook. This is a battle for free speech, Steph. It's one that a lot of Australians are not aware of. Tell my audience why this is important.
Well, good evening, Rita. Last year, Chris Elston, also known as Billboard Chris, posted a criticism of the appointment of trans activist Teddy Cook and her appointment to a board to the World Health Organization drafting trans policy. The eSafety Commissioner demanded that it be removed. She said it was offensive. He used female pronouns. Cook is a biological female who now identifies as a man. And so she was unable to get it blocked from Twitter altogether, from X altogether, but she geo-blocked it in Australia. So Elon Musk and X have filed to appeal this decision. The debate of the matter is whether or not it constitutes of cyber abuse. But at the end of the
Cyber abuse. Jesus fuck.
day,
Like, I don't totally agree with the whole anti-trans thing, but like, especially when you're talking about transitioning for minors, I can totally sympathize with the idea that, yeah, you could potentially be harming children, and I think especially with females, they are highly, highly prone to stupid, insane, attention-seeking behavior where they are not actually trans, they don't have gender dysphoria, and they just say they do so that they can get attention from people, and then they regret transitioning. And then you have a bunch of adults who basically mutilated them and fucked up their whole lives. I can totally sympathize with the idea, and like having these people like become criminals for saying this is just fucking insane.
these positions of power need to be scrutinised. The people going into these positions, Teddy Cook is a public figure, she's an activist, and so if she is looking to join boards and partake in boards that are going to have global influence, and there are certain questions raised about the things that she's posting on social media or the things that she advocates for, including tax-funded surgeries with no limited age limit for them, then people are right to raise criticism and ask questions.
Absolutely. Nobody in a role like that should be above criticism. And I've seen the posts. They're not offensive. And I think they're very much expressing a mainstream view. And it's a problem in Australia.
Yeah. Australia. The country that bans Nerf guns. I'm not even fucking joking. When you test a source's gear and it's good, do you continuously test orders from the source or assume quality control unless there's an obvious issue? Yeah, you only really have to test once, like especially when you're talking about non-exotic compounds that don't have like supply chain issues. So testosterone, boldenone, nandrolone, tren, those are never ever faked. Primobolan is very frequently faked, especially given the supply chain issues that exist right now. So that's something maybe you want to regularly check. Especially if you notice like there's changes when you like inject it. So if you have like no post-injection pain, then suddenly you have a ton of post-injection pain. Like, yeah, you probably want to, like that's usually a red flag. Or if like people start complaining about that gear source randomly, yeah, there's stuff like that.
Yeah, if even mainstream views, sometimes stating biological facts, is deemed so offensive that the Safety Commissioner sees fit to have the post blocked, to have Australians not be able to see it. Now, Steph, you've pointed out that while the Labor Party talks a big game on tackling sexism and misogyny, they're now using sexism, certainly the objectifying of the female form, in political ads like this.
Authorised
What?
P. Erickson, ALP Canberra.
And they also had this one.
At Edgelord Etiquette, the worst kind of self-hating white person lives in Australia. How so?
There's a lot of crazy social justice warriors in Australia. You wouldn't believe it. Thanks, Dodo.
Have you ever tried this one?
Authorised.
They're promoting Medicare with like a girl's butt.
Authorised P. Erickson, ALP Canberra.
It's certainly a curious way to be.
Australia makes no fucking sense.
All right, the spiritual leader of the Democratic Party, far-left extremist Hassan Piker, is now touting an anti-Israel litmus test for any Democrat with 2028 presidential aspirations. Take a look at these really repulsive and disgusting remarks.
Will you endorse the 2028 candidate if they are pro-Israel in a way that you don't like? If you ultimately are about defeating fascism in this country as you describe it, surely shouldn't you get on board with whoever the main candidate is?
Luckily, I don't think I will have to make that calculation at all, because there is 0% chance that whoever the elected Democrat is that wins the primary will be pro-Israel in any way, shape, or form. You'll see.
Here with reaction, the host of Life, Liberty, and Levin, and of course his own nationally syndicated radio host. Of course, he's here on the...
They're just guaranteeing a Democratic loss. That's all they're doing.
Fox News Channel. I call him the Great One, Mark Levin. Mark, this is a guy that blamed America for 9/11/01. There is 0% chance any 2028 Democratic nominee will be pro-Israel. Now, if that's not anti-Semitic bigotry institutionalized in a party, I don't know what is. Your thoughts?
You know, this guy is, well, we're on cable TV. I got to watch it. He's a real lowlife.
And I thought SJWs were against sexualizing woman.
Yeah, they say that. Thanks, Dodo.
You know, it's a funny thing, this guy Puker. He doesn't condemn communist China. In fact, he says Mao was the greatest man to ever walk the planet. Right now, communist China has about 2 million Uyghurs, Muslims, in internment camps where they're being raped, tortured, enslaved, and murdered. He says nothing. In Yemen, which is 99% Muslim, 150,000 Muslims have been starved to death and murdered. In the Syrian civil war, 580,000 Muslims were killed, and this lowlife says nothing about any of it. He is obsessed with Jews and Israel. He's obsessed with America. And by obsessed, I mean he hates us. He hates this country. He hates the citizens of this country.
Yeah, but somehow he decides to live here. Wonder why. Well, there. I'm not in the States.
He hates the Israelis. He hates Jews. You know, he was raised in Turkey. You know, Turkey, the country that's run by our dear friend Erdogan, who's another Jew hater and Israel hater, and so forth and so on. And he ought to go back to Turkey. I'm really troubled by the fact that we have people coming into this country, or coming back to this country, that hate it so much and spew their poison left and right. I don't know how this guy gets a platform. I don't know how anybody pays to give him a platform. He's not intelligent. He's just a thug. He's just another Jew hater. And you can find them anywhere. You can find them on the street. You can find them anywhere. So this guy gets paid a fortune because he's a Jew hater. Now, as far as the Democrat Party goes, I hate to say this, he's not that far off the mark. The Democrat Party is led by individuals who are Israel haters. By Israel haters, you have to be a Jew hater. It's the only Jewish state that exists. Now, they like to say, well, we don't hate Jews, it's just Israel. Well, that's like saying we don't hate Catholics, we just hate the Vatican. That doesn't make any sense, does it? No, it doesn't. So that some of them try and camouflage their Jew hatred. This guy's out of the closet in many ways. He is what he is. But you have the guys like Van Hollen. You've got guys like Bernie Sanders. You've got people like that in the House. You've got a whole phalanx of Jew haters and American haters. Every single one of the Jew haters, every single one of the Israel haters hate America. Have you noticed that? And they trash our country.
Yeah, well, and they're taking over the Democratic Party and it's going to shit, and Destiny's letting them, yeah.
Look, it's been a joke in the past, right? You know, the queers for Palestine activists, leftists so blind to the reality of Gaza, a territory run by homophobic, gay-murdering Hamas terrorists, the kind of people that throw gays off buildings. But last weekend, the joke got really sick. London held its annual Gay Pride March, which featured the usual Israel haters like this.
Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Retarded.
Now, Berlin on that very same day, Saturday, also held a Gay Pride March. But this one was attacked by someone else protesting for Palestine. The 21-year-old German-born son of Lebanese immigrants. An Islamic State supporter, it seems, who ran his van into the crowd, killing at least one person, and then getting out to stab some more. That killer was later shot dead when he rushed at police with a knife. But the ABC, being the ABC, of course, to commentate on this, on AM this morning, it went to an Iranian-born leftist activist and journalist in Berlin who worried not about Muslim extremists, but people who'd worry about some immigrant groups.
What I also find really touching and moving is that the queer community, while mourning and while being in shock, they feel the urge to give statements that they don't want this brutal alleged Islamist attack to be used to spread hatred against different minority groups.
Yeah.
Joining me from London is our Monday regular Talk TV host, Samara Gill. Samara, great to see you. Look, people talk about the suicidal empathy that some critics of the left, that some in the left have. Suicidal empathy. That is it, I think, you know, embracing the kind of extremists who could kill them.
Absolutely, Andrew. I mean, why do we put up with this? This is the same tolerant left that we have been warning time and time again that this would happen. You know, every weekend we see these marchers. They stick up for the same people that would gleefully ram a car into them with murderous intent. You know, this element of radical Islam, it's really wrapped its cold fingers around the neck of the West. And I do feel, especially this weekend, like it has been strangling the last breath out of us. You know, they come for things like Christmas markets that represent Christianity, pride marches, which represent freedom, children's dance halls. Axel Rudakabana, the Southport murderer, was found with an Al-Qaeda training manual, beach parties like Hanukkah by...
Destiny's streaming now? Is he? It's late for him.
Hope that I take away from this. And they would say, just don't forget about us.
Oh, wait,
and
that's
it's almost
the other
worse
guy.
than that. Some political pundits on the left, liberals, who should care across all issues about suffering innocent civilians.
Why are we hating on Luke? Do we hate Luke? I don't think we hate Luke. He's just a base lib guy, right?
Are not just forgetting about Ukraine, but turning directly hostile to Ukraine. When again, there's literally no evidence Zelensky would do anything for Netanyahu. But this theory relies on Zelensky continuing or goading Russia into a war so that Israel can do what it wants to do while Russia's distracted. Follow that thread with me.
Follow it.
Also, you could say the Israeli government exploited the circumstances of Russia being distracted because of Russia's own choice. But to say that was the Ukrainian calculus is deranged. And it erases the entire story. That's what revs me up so much. It's not just like an incorrect take. It erases the entire story of Russia's invasion, of that conflict. It flips it to only have to do with
Holy moving camera.
some conspiracy
We got
where Zelensky wants
producers
to
in
help
here.
out Netanyahu.
Oh my God.
When they don't have a good relationship. Zelensky over and over has asked for more help from Israel and has been turned down. And you saw that exchange there. You heard the reporting. The strike that prompted this reaction makes sense given the drones that have been going to Russia to kill. The drones that I saw that I was trying to stay away from while there that killed civilians that were Iranian drones. But no, it's not that. So then you go down the thought tree and say, okay, so explain this to me.
Okay.
Putin didn't want to invade.
Okay.
But Zelensky forced him into it. Woo! Got him to invade. So then a bunch of people Zelensky knows are dying. His country's being destroyed for years. And then he somehow keeps the war going, even though the Russian military is the one doing that, but he's tricking them into it. And then that was all so Israel could do stuff and not have Russian proxies being supported by Russia. And there's no record of a relationship that cozy that would cause that to make any sense. And again, I've seen Cenk has been very passionate against Russia for...
Hey.
Hey.
Well, this is weird. He's not blaming Israel and the Jews for everything.
Damn, that's crazy.
Well, shouldn't you talk to him? Like, shouldn't he be like Adam Mockler and say that, no, it's the Jews' fault for everything and don't ever support a Democrat that supports Israel?
Do you think that's my position?
Well, I don't know. You've never called out Adam Mockler for his fucking anti-Semitic bullshit when Brian Tyler Cohen was promoting this idea that Netanyahu controls the U.S. government, and he, in that talk that he had with Rubio and Trump, he was telling them what to do. He didn't really give much pushback against that. So, sounds like
I didn't literally quote tweet that and say something about it.
What do you mean? He uploaded the fucking short.
Didn't I tweet something with like a screenshot of that saying like, "What the fuck are we doing here?"
Yeah.
I don't think
I
you
saw
have
the
any idea
little.
how
I
long
saw
you
the
take
little
off, but that's okay.
thing. I saw the
Wow,
little
Joby,
thing.
thanks for the 2,500 kick subs and kick chat.
I saw the little thing you mentioned on your live stream too. But like the effort you're putting in is pretty fucking minimal when this is kind of a huge issue, don't you think?
No, I don't.
So you're still willing to work with these people. They're promoting the most insane, deranged DSA fucking garbage that you're claiming to be against. And the amount of effort you're putting in is literally like 3 seconds at the beginning of the stream and a tweet that says, "What are we doing here?" And again, I've never seen you criticize Adam Mockler when he was doing the exact shit that you're fucking complaining about, where he's advocating to never vote for a Democratic candidate if they support Israel. You don't think that is shockingly harmful to the Democratic Party when you have people like Adam saying this shit? And you will put, you've never said anything about Adam. You actually defended him when I called you out for...
True.
So you think you should put a little more effort into maybe supporting... What's that guy's name that you're reacting to right now?
Netanyahu?
No, the guy who looks like he's 12 with the Guns N' Roses t-shirt.
Oh, Beasley.
Yeah. Yeah, you think you might want to put a little more effort into supporting people like this who don't spread deranged anti-Semitic conspiracy theories against Jews, and maybe put a lot more effort into criticizing people like Adam Mockler and Brian Tyler Cohen, who are literally supporting the DSA?
Maybe that'd be a good idea. I'll think about that, actually. I never considered that before.
You ever considered going on testosterone?
Fuck no.
How come?
Because it would literally be for aesthetic purposes only, and I don't feel like getting on another
Well,
medication.
what's your test?
For,
What's your test at?
Within healthy reference range, and I don't think I'm symptomatic of
Well-
low T, so why would I start supplementing a hormone that I feel like I don't need?
Well, you can have physical problems without being symptomatic. You can be below the reference
Wouldn't the-
range and not be symptomatic, but still develop health issues from it.
What would the health issues be?
So, increased risk of heart disease, prostate cancer, and diabetes, for one thing. And later in life, you're also going to be much more
Hold on.
susceptible to osteoporosis.
For
There's
increased
plenty
risk of how much of that stuff is literally just a correlation with your lean muscle mass versus like.
Well, what do you think testosterone does? And it
Well,
has
I-
a
it
direct
would help.
it has a direct
Sure, but I'm
nutrition
just-
partitioning effect.
Sure, but I mean, a lot of that stuff sounds like if you're not overweight or obese, my guess is you probably have a similarly low chance of developing diabetes or for cancers or for whatever the third thing was, would be my guess.
Well, you're just talking about another confounding variable. Again, low test is its own independent variable. So it's like saying, well, I don't smoke, so I can eat like butter and ham cheese sandwiches. Well, the butter and ham
Do
cheese
people-
sandwiches will
people
contribute
with
to heart
higher
disease.
Testosterone at the same body weight have it's a significantly reduced risk of type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
I'll look it up. I don't know.
Oh yeah. If you have low testosterone and you're diagnosed as hypogonadal, especially if it's very low, like you're talking like 200 or below, yeah, you're going to have increased risk of things like osteoporosis, diabetes, and heart disease later in life.
Okay. Yeah, if you're hypogonadal, I'm sure, but
You can be hypogonadal and not be symptomatic. You can have like normal libido and everything.
okay. Well, I'll look into it. Okay.
I'm kind of like you should look into that because I don't know, you're a little bit of a beta.
Yeah. Well, we can't.
You know,
all be
you might want to
negative
go on
about it.
more tea so that you can
Mhm.
better defend against these DSA fucking commie retards. You're kind of letting them off easy. If you had more testosterone, more of that male ambition and aggression, you'd maybe be better at it.
It is true. I do let these guys get away with a lot. I think you're right. I'll think
Yeah.
about it. Okay.
All right. Take care.
Wait. Did you ever get Dan to respond to your?
I added him. I found out what his Discord handle was. I'm waiting for him to add me and then message me back.
Wow, what a little bitch.
Yeah, it's like hiding from me.
Probably. You should call him out publicly on Twitter.
I'm banned on Twitter.
Oh shit, maybe the T was too high.
Well, that was before I was on test. I allegedly threatened a 13-year-old. I didn't know they were 13, but, you know, it happens.
I mean, that's that kid's fault. He should have been talking shit, I'm guessing, right?
Well, they were talking a lot of shit, believe me.
I do.
But anyway, yeah, tell Dan to add me on Discord.
I'll get right on that.
All right, take care. Okay.
In London in just a moment. But first, as we mentioned on Monday, the man who carried out that Islamist terror attack in Berlin over the weekend was arrested and charged previously on terror-related charges, then freed because he promised to leave his extremist days behind. But despite all that, have a look at how Berlin's queer commissioner has sought to shift the conversation and the focus onto the far right.
The far right here in Germany is, of course, waiting for an attack like this one to use it in order to highlight that the foreigners are the problem. But by doing so, they completely forget and avoid to look at how much queerphobia there is in this country, in all various levels of structures, in schools, at the workplace, in churches, on the streets, in sports, and in so many other places. Yes, they might not come out onto the streets with a van and kill us in a big, huge group like possibly this attack could have done.
Unbelievable. Let's bring in
Yeah.
writer and broadcaster Esther Kraku. Essie, I've got to get you to walk me through the logic of this bloke here. He's saying that, how could you possibly seize upon Islamist extremism to talk about Islamist extremism? Rather, because an Islamist extremist kills someone, then the shame is on everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't make sense of it because this is the kind of the grips that these people are in, the mental grip to try and make it so. I mean, there was a singer.
It's whatever mental gymnastics they need to say there's no problem with Muslims. So, it's everybody else. Muslims are facing discrimination. That's why they lash out like that. No, they're just assholes.
At the memorial held for the woman who died during this attack, who was not mentioned at all at any point in this memorial, if you believe it or not.
Good
and
Lord.
she talked about her disappointment that the person who carried out this attack wasn't a white Christian man. So they're so desperate for a reality that is not so to be, so that it fits their narrative, which is the most pathetic and horrifying and saddening thing. But the reality is they can't. There's not enough sort of demand for what they're. Well, there's not enough supply for what they're demanding, which is for the narrative to have shifted and for the person who committed this attack to not be of a radical Islamist background. And unfortunately, that is the case. And I think the fact that they're more concerned with the far right, which had nothing to do with this attack, than the fact that, for example, in Germany, the AfD is polling quite highly with gay men because, surprise, surprise, people don't want to live next to homophobes from cultures that are not friendly to their sexual orientation. The fact that they're less concerned with that than the fact that there are people that are ramming their cars into people just for their sexual orientation.
Yeah, last I checked, the right wing only really want to ban gay marriage. They're not ramming cars into gay pride parades. So, yeah, letting in a bunch of Islamic extremists is probably a bigger issue than, right wingers. And again, the EU does not have a problem with right wing extremists. They're not banning gay marriage anytime fucking soon. These people are just nuts.
And of course, many of you might have been seeing the scenes coming out of Spain. However, something really remarkable is currently taking place on the internet, and that is how Muslims are reacting to these scenes. And I feel like this really is a bit of a mask slip moment, and also really does prove that some people are just really, really dumb. I want to start off with former homosexual and convert to Islam Sneeko. Now, he has of course been in a bit of hot water recently because of his comments about Islam taking over in New York, Islam taking over America and the rest of the West. And he is at the forefront of what you could consider Islamic propaganda on the internet today. You've all seen him trying that kafir bullshit, look for validation every single time he did it, and just overall be a cringy, closeted homosexual. And it seems like when it comes to the Spanish issue, he cannot even stand by the comments that he leaves, because here is a post he made that he ended up deleting because of the backlash he was receiving. Have a look to a video of the invaders in Ceuta.
Christians, even nut jobs, are far less likely to commit atrocities like this than Muslims.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dodo.
Nico goes, the rest of Europe next. Inshallah. This is what they really think. And I guess this is what happens to you when you hang out with Dawa bros and I guess Islamic sheikhs who consistently defend Muhammad's marriage to Aisha when she was 6 years old and so on. Here he is saying out loud what a vast majority of Muslims think. I know leftists will be like, oh, look at these people, they're so impoverished, they're running away from suffering and war and whatnot. These are Moroccans. There is no war in Morocco. Unless they have declared war on inbreeding and they're all running away from it now. There is no war.
They literally admit they're poor and they just want to go to Spain because it's a wealthier country. They're not refugees.
There is no conflict. Morocco is relatively a stable country, and yet they are all running away from their Islamic country to a non-Islamic country to try and make that Islamic and to turn it into the shithole they came from. And yet he is Sneeko, and people just like him. Believe me, Sneeko, having his following, is talking about it openly and blatantly. However, there are a lot of people who think exactly like him. And this is just one side of what Muslims are saying online right now. Some are really happy about it. Some want them to go in and take over what they believe is a lost land. You can see here Adam, the Pakistani who pretends to be an Englishman and has gained a lot of prominence since the Gaza war, talking about this is a lie. Ceuta is occupied territory. The invasion is by Spain into Morocco. Colonization is not cool when Israel does it, and it's not cool when Spain
Came from
does
the
it.
Destiny
Okay, so
Strain,
when
sick.
are Muslims giving back Constantinople? Because Turkey has colonized essentially what were Christian lands. When are Arabs going to leave North Africa, parts of the Middle East, and so on? Because they came from the Arabian Peninsula. How did they end up in all these countries? Colonization, of course. And I think this is a great opportunity to once again remind you that Muslims ran the largest slave empire in human history and continue doing so today. So here's, once again, people like Adam from Pakistan, Sneeko from, I don't know where the fuck he is, some gay club in New York City on Saturday evenings perhaps. But here they are saying exactly what they believe. They feel like this invasion is necessary. They feel like this is them taking back their land. And like I said, this is one part of Muslim discourse.
That's just a Muslim thing. That's why the whole Israel-Palestine thing keeps going on for fucking ever. They need to they basically need to conquer every fucking territory, and if they ever lose a territory, they basically have an obligation to conquer that territory again at all costs. So that's why the Israel-Palestine conflict will never fucking end as long as Islam exists, because they're just always going to have that cultural aspect within Islam where they have to reconquer the territory. Who the fuck is this fucktard, by the way? Oh, it's okay for like fucking Muslims to invade Spain because it was once Muslim? Like, fuck me.
Scores on the internet right now when it comes to this issue. The other side, of course, the side that believes Bibi Netanyahu lives under their bed, has something else to say. And that is that Israel was behind this. Israel is the one who got into Pedro Sanchez's brain and operates him like some sort of machine in Men in Black with a little alien in his head. That is how they believe this has taken place. But I feel like they have inadvertently made a really funny point by taking this stance. And this person here, he actually makes it. So Susan Abul Hawa goes, everyone knows you engineered that emergency, parasite. So she's saying this at an Israeli. But the funny thing is, these Muslims are saying a plague has been unleashed upon Spain by the evil Israelis, by the evil Jews with their Jew magic. And the plague just so happens to be Muslims. These Muslims are being rather racist, I would say, towards themselves. They believe they are a plague on these countries. Ooh, Israel sending us to destroy these countries. We are a bioweapon, says Muslims. What an absolutely insane stance to take.
Well, again, they're trying to leave their fucking Muslim country, right? So they know it. They know they're pieces of shit.
But I guess this is the way of the world now. Nobody has agency. The Moroccans do not have agency. Pedro Sanchez and his left-wing government and their left-wing policies and their left-wing campaigning to give asylum to as many of these migrants as possible. None of these people have agency or the ability to make decisions on their own. Apparently, it has to be some sort of conspiracy by Israel to use Muslims as a plague or an infection or a parasite, whatever these people are calling themselves these days. It is utterly absurd. These people have lost their minds. And yet, here's another post like that, where this person goes, Morocco is acting like a Zionist puppet. It's the only explanation that makes sense. This looks like punishment for Spain for standing up to the terror state. So apparently, this person is saying, sending Muslims to
I love that. Israel is trying to destroy your country by sending us there.
a country is apparently punishment to that country. Amen. None of us disagree with that. These countries, they cannot accommodate Islam within their borders. Islam is incompatible with the West. I mean, have they not considered that this is, in fact, what they're saying? But It absolutely is what they're saying. And it is rather embarrassing that they have labeled themselves this way. We have come to this point where Muslims themselves are saying, if you send our people over into the West, it is a punishment towards Western countries. I feel like this is Jew derangement syndrome, isn't it? Like, Muslims do not have agency anymore. I showed you guys in my video about the Spanish invasion the other day, where Moroccans were the ones planning this. They were planning out the routes, they were planning out equipment. There were multiple Facebook groups with over 230,000 people involved, all planning how they were going to make their way into Spain using Ceuta, because they understand what the new laws are. They understand the amnesty laws. They understand what Spain did for Algeria recently. They understand that Spain is taking a stance to not deport people who cross by sea, because multiple European countries are going against the Schengen zone and saying people who arrive through Spain cannot enter their countries. So this includes Italy, Finland, I believe Norway or Denmark has also now signed on. So there are multiple countries that are saying, hey, Spain's left-wing government has completely fucked up. And the left are also doing something really funny these days. The left are pretending like this was never part of their plan. The left are pretending like suddenly borders are important to them. Reality is, this is the left's political ambition, their policies manifesting itself into reality. This is what it looks like at the end of the day. And now they are too embarrassed. They are too embarrassed that these scenes are out there for everybody to see on platforms like X. These scenes of 100,000 Moroccans entering Ceuta with a population of 80,000, destroying the place. The whole place looks like a war zone now. The left are suddenly like, oh no, that's not us. That's not what we stand for. But it is what you stand for. These open border policies, these infinite asylum policies, the suicidal empathy you seemingly enter into all your policies. That is
I don't know why the hell they have any interest in letting in these fucking retarded immigrants. Like, they have no education. They don't work. They just steal from the fucking welfare system. And we all know they're not refugees. Like, it's the exact same demographic. They're all young males, like, between late teens, early 20s. So they're all, like, just criminal fucking dudes who are just trying to, like, get ahead by just stealing from another country.
Exactly what has happened here. And it is absolutely destroying countries like Spain. As you can see, when it becomes reality, you can see how destructive it is. And you can't take that back and immediately be like, oh no, it wasn't us. It was actually the Americans and the Jews who are responsible for this. No, it was you. You don't understand the consequences of these policies. And once again, the leopard has ended up eating your face. And it will happen every single fucking time. That is just a fact. And on that note, guys, that's all I have for today.
Officials say the European Union's interior ministers will meet this coming week to discuss breaches of the bloc's external borders. 60,000 Moroccan migrants entered the Spanish enclave of Ceuta in just a day. At least 67 people died in the attempt. Some countries want Spain suspended from the EU's borderless Schengen zone. Spanish officials say most of the migrants have now been sent back.
Police and military escorting migrants off Spain's Ceuta exclave. A disappointing end to a risky journey. This man was so exhausted that medics had to help him get back to Morocco. Many migrants have been left frustrated and angry. They risked so much trying to get to Ceuta, only to be turned away, or in some cases met with threats and violence.
Yeah, good.
My name is Imad. I entered Ceuta via the sea crossing. The Spanish said they treated us well. They did not. First, they closed.
Buddy, you're a fucking criminal that illegally crossed into another country. Like, go fuck yourself.
All shops and stopped us being able to get food. They treated us harshly. They took up arms against
Yes, that's because you're a fucking invading criminal.
us and threatened to kill us. We saw people who died in front of us. This is a shame for Moroccans like us.
You're a fucking criminal. And you're the ones who killed yourselves, you fucking retard.
We were targeted by the Moroccan community in Ceuta.
According to Spain's interior minister, things are now returning to normal.
It has also been possible to turn the situation around in such a short space of time, thanks to our resolute and ongoing collaboration with Moroccan authorities, with whom we maintain an ongoing partnership based on trust and hard work, which has developed over recent years.
With tensions on the ground easing, he also thanked most of Spain's European partners for their support. With the exception of a few countries he said selfishly used this situation to further their partisan goals. Italy, for one, temporarily lifted its Schengen agreement with Spain on Friday. But now, new preventative measures are being put into place. This is the floating barrier that's meant to deter another migrant surge, a visible sign for these returning migrants that a future attempt to reach Syria.
Kid Boo based. Also, fuck Islam. Let me see.
What? Because you fucking came over here, bitch. Keep your dog over there. We don't have no motherfucking issue. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Keep your fucking ass dog over there, bitch.
Yeah, I mean...
Watch this if you can. This should be a commercial for testosterone, not oil of oregano lol.
Okay, I'll take a look at that in a minute. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, I mean, if I had a dog and it ran over and somebody was washing their car and they just sprayed it a little, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Like, yeah. Lady's stupid. Thanks, Kid Vu.
My whole crew knew my wife was cheating for 2 years. Nobody told me. When I found out why they stayed quiet, it broke me worse than she did. The only thing that put me back together was what my brother flew in from Oslo to show me. So here's what happened. 4th of July, my house, my grill, 20 people in my backyard. We ran out of ice. I went to the garage to grab another bag. That's when I heard my wife's voice behind the garage, talking to Darius, my best friend since college. My best man, godfather to my son. She was laughing. She said, Andre, have you seen him lately? He looks 60. I stopped looking at him years ago. Then it got quiet, and I heard them kiss. Stood there holding a bag of ice 20 feet away. He was my brother for 25 years. She was
Sup VG, where do you get 30G 1-inch syringes? Special order from you pharmacy? Lure lock or slip? What brand? Also PLS look, thanks.
Lure lock, you don't want a slip syringe, it'll just come off. And I order them off Amazon. That's the easiest way. I haven't had any problems with them. You can get them from the pharmacy if you want. Just, order them in. There's also just websites that sell pharmacy supplies that you can order directly. But yeah, Amazon sells them. Just get them from Amazon. They're cheap. This video is fucking stupid. Wow. Oh my god. Wow. Oh my god, they're so person. Wow. Oh my god. Look at those groundhogs. That's amazing. Thanks, I am indeed Smolian.
my wife for 20. I didn't swing on him, not yet. I carried the ice back to the cooler, flipped the burgers, hosted my own funeral for 4 more hours, and smiled the whole time. Saturday was 10 Olympic.
Not luckier than you. They're not more disciplined than you. They get support every week. Every athlete I work with in Norway gets supported. System slows down. 6 weeks. 2 soft Joes every morning with water. By week 1, your face will week 5 behind my. I walked back to the yard. Tasha put her hand on my chest and looked up at me. I had it back, not because of Tasha.
Dude, if your wife cheats on you and then you get like jacked on testosterone, then she's attracted to you again, and then like what? Bro, have some self-respect. Fucking kick that bitch to the fucking curb. Like, like in most states too, most countries, if your wife commits infidelity, she's not entitled to anything in the divorce. Literally nothing. You're literally still a fucking cuck. This is fucking stupid.
Ceuta will be harder.
A view of all this now.
You ever use reconstituted peptides past 30 days? Personally, I haven't. Heard they become less potent, but I can't tell if that's just an internet myth. Some might not. I'm pretty sure with growth hormone, they stay, like, the potency stays extremely high for very, very prolonged periods of time. So, like, I would say the bigger risk is bacterial contamination than loss of potency, but I've never had a peptide vial last more than 30 days.
Now from the EU with DW Brussels correspondent Terry Schultz. Terry, good to see you. Pedro Sanchez has called this a violation of Spain's territorial sovereignty, but he's also pushed back hard against countries like Italy, which appear to be trying to isolate Spain over this. Are other EU countries backing Madrid's version of events?
Not so much, Michael. And if you're Spain, you certainly do feel isolated today after feeling that you basically did your duty in getting most of these people back to Morocco. Now, let's take a look at the different responses that have come out of not just Brussels, but the European Union as a whole. And it's very, very messy, Michael. So taking a look, for example, at European Council President Antonio Costa. Now, normally, responses at the EU level are coordinated, but Costa's post on X about the Ceuta incident says that he personally stands in solidarity.
You don't keep bacteriostatic water in the fridge. You just keep it at room temperature.
With Spain. And the Irish Interior
And it'll have an expiry date on the vial.
Minister, whose country holds the 6-month rotating presidency of the Council of the European Union at the moment, similarly came out and said Ireland stands in.
Sadly, you can't kick her to the curb, and if you do, you will go to jail for a long time for abusing a woman.
No, everybody would understand that hoes for the streets. Thanks, Dodo.
In solidarity with Spain, and he did agree to hold this meeting of interior ministers on Tuesday. But this contrasts sharply with what we saw from Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission chief. Her message on X said nothing about solidarity with Spain. Instead, she said that these scenes that they see coming out of Ceuta are unacceptable and that none of these people must be allowed to enter the European Union. She talks about assigning a couple of staffers to help work on the crisis, but nothing at all about, again, solidarity with Spain. And then we have this letter of 22 prime ministers, which was calling for this meeting of interior ministers that will now take place. And it was very critical of Spain and talking all about how the migrants cannot be allowed to enter the European Union. It's about a crisis in the potential, Schengen border-free zone, but not speaking in solidarity with Spain. In fact, there's some criticism of Spain's plan, for example, to regularize migrants. So this is a very touchy situation. It's very ugly at the moment, and it could get uglier as these meetings unfold this week.
And I'm going to single out Italy. Rome suspended its open border Schengen agreement with Spain, and France has tightened its own border checks. How much damage has this done to freedom of movement in the EU, even?
Oh my God, they're starting to learn. Jeez, it only took that, huh?
Europe is too afraid to touch Islam, but Germany didn't get the memo. In just 2 years, Berlin has banned Iran's most powerful religious outpost on German soil, dissolved a caliphate-preaching network built on TikTok, frozen its assets, and raided dozens of properties in a single morning. There was no new law, no emergency powers, just a Cold War-era doctrine that most people have never even heard of, one that lets the German state erase an entire organization overnight. The rest of Europe is watching, because Germany, well, it isn't managing these networks anymore. It's instead taking them apart. But to understand what Germany is actually doing and where it suddenly, deliberately stops, you'll have to start with a story that everyone else keeps getting wrong. Now, here's the version that you've heard 100 times. Europe's leaders wring their hands, they hold conferences, publish reports, and they change nothing. When it comes to organized political Islam, the movements that reject democracy and preach a separate legal order above the law of the land, the continent is frozen, too frightened of the backlash to lift a finger. It's a compelling story, it fits the headlines, and in more than a few countries, it's uncomfortably close to the truth, but it falls apart the moment that you look at Germany. Now, while commentators keep insisting that nothing can be done, German authorities were quietly doing it, not with speeches, but with court orders, pre-dawn raids, and seized bank accounts. Now, over the past decade, Germany has outlawed one Islamist.
Do you think science is reaching its limits, or do you think we will be able to do more in the future as science evolves, like resurrection or bypassing physics?
You don't bypass physics. The fuck are you talking about? Yeah, we're going to learn how to do more shit. Thanks, Rec.
Organization after another. And in the 2 years leading up to the summer of 2026, it moved faster and harder than at almost any point in its modern history. This isn't a story about deportation slogans or campaign promises. It's a story about a state machine that's been grinding through Islamist networks with a patience that should make the rest of Europe nervous. And it all runs on a single, quiet idea buried in the German constitution. An idea born from the ashes of the Third Reich. So how does a country that spends most of its energy apologizing for its past suddenly become the most aggressive enforcer against political Islam in Western Europe? Well, to answer that, we have to go to Hamburg, to a turquoise mosque on the shore of a lake, and to the morning that the German state came for it. For decades, the Islamic Center Hamburg looked exactly like what it claimed to be, a place of worship. Founded by Iranian immigrants in 1953, it ran the famous Blue Mosque on the Outer Ulster, one of the oldest mosques in the country. Tourists would photograph it, worshippers would pray there. On the surface, nothing about it screamed threat. But underneath, German intelligence had reached a very different conclusion. The Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution, Germany's domestic intelligence service, had been watching the center since the 1990s. What they described was not a religious community, but it was, in their assessment, the direct representative of Iran's supreme leader on German soil. An organization spreading the ideology of the Islamic Revolution, promoting aggressive anti-Semitism and supporting Hezbollah, the militant group that Germany had already banned from all activity in 2020. And this wasn't a hunch. In early 2023, a German federal court had already ruled that the center and its Blue Mosque were an extremist organization. The evidence was hard to miss. When a U.S. strike killed the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani in January of 2020, around 600 people gathered at the Hamburg Center to mourn him, praising the architect of Iran's regional militias as a heroic martyr in the heart of a German city.
Yeah.
In November 2023, investigators searched 55 of the center's property.
Like, again, you gotta wonder why they let him in the first place. Like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Quietly assembling the file that would eventually end it. On July 24, 2024, that waiting ended. Interior Minister Nancy Faeser banned and dissolved the Islamic Center Hamburg outright. That same morning, officers searched 53 properties across 8 federal states, from Hamburg to Bavaria, from Berlin to North Rhine-Westphalia. 4 Shiite mosques were shut down. The organization's assets were frozen and marked for seizure. Its branches in Frankfurt, Munich, and Berlin were dissolved along with it. And Faeser said something that matters for everything that follows. She drew a hard line. We are not taking action against a religion, she insisted. The ban, she stressed, absolutely does not apply to the peaceful practice.
Oh, peaceful practice of the Shiite religion. Yeah, okay. So they let them in, then they do terrorist bullshit, and then they do something about, oh my god, dude, these, yeah, of course, fucking stupid white woman. Holy fucking shit, this is stupid. Yeah, please tell me why, if they're peaceful, they're fucking terrorists, you idiot.
Of the Shiite religion. And remember that sentence, because it's the exact same line that Germany refuses to cross, and by the end, it's the whole story. But here's what almost nobody outside of Germany understands about that raid. The ban itself was the weapon, not the arrests, not the headlines, but the ban. So what exactly is this power, and why can Berlin use it to make an entire organization vanish before lunch? The answer goes back to 1949, and to a country trying to make sure that it never becomes what it just was. When West Germany wrote its constitution after the Second World War, its authors were haunted by a single. And in early 2024, the mask slipped in public. Muslim Interactive put more than 1,000 people onto the streets of Hamburg, openly demanding a caliphate in Germany, on camera, in daylight. If you think that an online movement is somehow softer than the old networks, consider what it actually said behind the polish. In the government's own account, the group rejected any government influence over Muslim life, called its own values non-negotiable, and denied Israel's right to exist. This isn't a debate club. This is a structure built to manufacture, in the state's words, permanent enemies of the Constitution. So on November 5th, 2025, Germany did to the feed what it had done to the mosque. Interior Minister Alexander Dobrindt banned Muslim Interactive, dissolved it, and confiscated
They wouldn't have to do this if they wouldn't let them into the country in the first place. Like, it's just so dumb.
Which raises the question that the raids alone can't answer. If Germany has been this relentless,
Yeah, religion's
banning,
just for
seizing,
fucking
dissolving
retards.
year after year, then surely the threat should be shrinking. The enforcement should be working. The graph should bend down. So why does every honest German security official brace themselves before they say the next part out loud? Why is the one statistic that measures whether any of this is working the one number that nobody wants to put on a slide? Because it refuses to say what a decade of crackdowns is supposed to make it say. Hey, if this is the first time you're hearing how far this has already gone, how methodically one of Europe's most powerful democracies has been dismantling these networks while everyone insisted it couldn't be done, this is exactly the kind of story that we dig into every week. Subscribe to Fall of Nations now, because what comes next is the number that the German state...
Let's see. Plenty of more stupid shit.
As one of the only truly creative influencers on here, I've had a lot of ideas stolen from me. The biggest culprit might be my Best Bar protein bar, and if you see any of these companies posting on any social media, please leave a comment saying stolen.
You don't own a patent to ingredients, you idiot.
From Frank Tufano's Best Bar.
You know, I really wish this stupid woman would just have gotten lost in the Amazon and became that Mother Eagles and Chick's next meal.
Yeah, we should just feed all these people to harpy eagles. Thanks, Dodo.
Bar recipe on frankiesfreerangefoods.com. One simple statement: Rello, Lineage, and Santa Cruz Paleo, all three bars available on Amazon. Again, the Rello bar, the Lineage Provision bar, this is Paul Saladino's bar, and the Santa Cruz Paleo bar all have a very similar recipe, which is what was stolen from my original Best Bar formula: beef tallow, honey, and whey protein. The original culprit is actually Jacob Bar, which was formerly known as the Way Better Bar, and I guess he consulted an attorney and they advised him to change the name. I've been chasing this kid around in court for like 2 or 3 years now. He's just dodging lawsuits and all the judges are protecting him. And then we also have Power Puck LLC, which owns Power Fit Foods. You guys can stay updated on the lawsuit if you search Tufano versus Better Life Foods, Inc. Better Life Foods, Inc. is the Jacob Bar's operating LLC. Now, because these companies have put their product in stores and on Amazon, that means I'm also suing every single platform that has promoted them, from the actual sales channels like Amazon.
Why does he even do this? Like, he knows his lawsuits go nowhere. This guy is just insane.
Which has the Lineage, Rello, and Santa Cruz bar. Whole Foods has the Rello bar. Fresh Time Market has some of the bars. So that's quite a few defendants on the lawsuit. And in addition to that, when these people promote on TikTok, Instagram, any social media, whatever it is, even YouTube, I added those companies to the lawsuit too. So there's quite a long list of defendants, about 12 right now.
Oh yeah, Paul Saladino's Lineage bar has really shitty reviews. That's pretty funny. Like, bro, why is he even complaining? Like, people don't even like this shit.
Which means whether I have to file this lawsuit every year.
I wonder if this is on Canadian Amazon. Let me see. It is. Oh wait, no, it's not. Where did he even fucking find this? I see Lineage Provisions creatine. What the fuck? With salt? I have no idea why he added salt to that. Maybe, if I look at their store page. Yeah. Whoa, these have gotten really shitty reviews. The thing tastes bad and has no refund or returns. For first-time buyers, save yourself the expense. Delicious, high quality. Found it too sticky and chewy and too many sugars, 12 grams per bar. These are some of the better protein bars I've tried. Good ingredients, but taste is absolutely horrible. Love the cream. I don't know if these are fake reviews. Or, weird. The verified purchases are good, aside from the one. And oh no, wait, those are all verified. Except this. These taste so awful, literally bring no benefit, are so overpriced. Okay, I think these are real people. And this one's gotten shitty reviews too. This is the worst protein bar I've ever had. Had a small bite, feel like I'm chewing gum, stuck to my teeth and internal upper of my mouth. One good review. Melted when I received it, couldn't even chew it, tastes awful. Tine Mucha Azúcar. It has a lot of sugar. Okay.
For the rest of my life, state and federal court, these people have already spent at least $150,000 in attorney fees. So whether these people want to pay me for this idea or not that they stole from me, I'm going to make sure they got to spend their money on something. They don't want to pay me, that's
I can guarantee you they did not spend that much money on attorney's fees.
fine. I'll bury them in legal fees. This is completely illegal. It is criminal to steal business ideas.
It is not. Not when you have a no patent to any ingredient.
They're allowed to get away with it because they're in the club, but if I sue them in court, they still have to pay attorney fees. Usually...
How are you doing tonight? I'm doing just fine. Thanks, dude.
People aren't able to sue in court because they don't know the procedure. But, you know, I guess they messed with the wrong guy, and I'm going to make sure they're going to be paying attorney fees for the rest of the time I'm on this planet, because for what this
By the way, he shouldn't say this publicly, because if he is in court, they can use that against them and just show the judge this guy is just maliciously filing lawsuits because he's upset. He's really stupid. Underrated supplement, macronutrient enzymes. Yeah, this is just garbage that he bought off of Alibaba.
supplement does, I mean, doctors would be charging thousands and thousands of dollars because...
No, amylase does not cost thousands of dollars.
This will literally...
These are just very cheap, basic enzymes. You also probably should not take an enzyme supplement. They usually cause digestive upset.
Really dissolve food in your stomach. We researched and found out what enzymes the pancreas and liver produce to break down food, as well as
You don't have to research that. You literally just ask Google.
the small intestine. Figured out the ratios, put them all in a capsule so that this will literally dissolve food in your stomach, and your body will even recycle the enzymes and use them for days at a time. So the reason I'm taking this now is if I'm about to eat
I don't think your body can recycle enzymes. Maybe they can. It may. I think it depends on the enzyme. I'm pretty sure a lot of them break down. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of them actually just break down.
a huge, insane amount of food, if it's
that's gross.
not that much protein, I'll actually take the probiotic. But in this case, if we're going to eat like half of a freaking duck, I do want the protein digesting enzymes because those are the hardest.
So, the natural human diet that we've evolved on, where we ate mostly animal products, requires Frank Tufano's enzyme supplement to properly digest. Is this guy like a full-fledged fucking retard? So food that human beings evolved to eat cannot be digested, and you need his enzyme supplement to digest it.
This macronutrient to break down. Any type of proteins, amino acids, they tend to be way harder for the body to eat.
These aren't protein digesting enzymes. Only the pepsin and trypsin are. Amylase, that's a starch digesting enzyme. Lipase, that's a fat digesting enzyme.
Than fats and carbs. So keep that in mind. For what this...
What a fucking retard.
This duck is so delicious, guys. I didn't eat all day, so...
Dude, this is like just the grossest person on fucking planet Earth.
I didn't even like sit down. I just started on a soy-free duck, and it's usually cheap.
Like, why is he touching it with his bare hands like that? Like, just... He's so fucking gross, and then he wonders why people don't watch his content.
What's up, guys? Most of you know I've been over it since our eyes got messed up, but I do have an obligation to you guys that continue to support my business, which I am very thankful for. It's just, I don't really care about anything anymore, and the reason we're making this vlog is to address a few things. So with the website transition, there were some issues, so I just want to make sure that all of you guys get your money back if an order was canceled or if something happened and you weren't credited for an item. Just please send me an email, because normally when we refund the order, the money gets sent back to the person's bank account, but because we switched off Shopify, I don't think the money was getting sent back to the bank account, and I'm not sure. I can't really tell. So if you guys had any issue with your order, please send us an email. We are set up now to issue a credit on the new website. So whether you guys, missed an egg shipment, or there was like an order minimum and you didn't meet it, but the money wasn't refunded to the bank account, please send me an email and be patient, guys. I have caught up on the meat emails, but I've been behind quite a while. I think it's a month or two now. The foods emails I haven't been able to catch up on. Which is bad, because we have a very high chargeback percentage, and Shopify is holding my money because we still haven't got off Shopify on the foods website. Unfortunately, we need to get the chargeback rate below a certain percentage. So, these people are impatient, and a lot of them are just scamming me. They're purposefully placing orders for eggs and adding another item, and then when they don't get the item because eggs ship on their own, they file a chargeback. But it literally says on the instructions, eggs, please order separately. So. Go figure. But that's the main thing, guys. Please, if you had any issue with your order or you didn't get something, just send us an email, and I'm going to try to catch up on the foods emails this week. It's just when I'm in bed for 18 hours a day, it's like nothing gets done. And even when I do wake up to do work, I'd still want to go right back to bed. So I could literally spend all day in bed and not do anything if I wanted to. So new products this week. We made some chicken cutlets.
A lot of complaining.
So we had some skinless chicken breast, and we just pounded them out, 1 pound portions of chicken cutlets. I think there's the rotisserie duck, we still have to cook it. I'm not sure if we ran out of Best Burger Blend or not, but sweet, because I forgot to place the produce order, but that texture right. And coconut with berry stuff. I think it's just the way the fat, I just for an Amish farmer. With my custom feed, I've been sending over my vitamin and mineral powder and stuff to put in the feed. So it's definitely a little different. So we're gonna...
This guy is taking supplements that he can't sell and putting it in the animal feed, and it's making the meat taste funny.
We're gonna wait to sell. All of our current pork is on sale. It's like 20 or 30% off. And I think all that pork is almost liquidated. So as soon as all that pork is liquidated, we're gonna send the new one. I think the color of the pork is really...
Dude, this guy's like actually a retard.
Really dependent on the breed. So unfortunately, the pork meat is a little darker. It's just not like, super crazy dark like some Iberico pork ends up. But this new pork, I did like the way it looked more, and it is definitely a little better quality. Both corn and soy free. It's just, there's a difference between corn and soy free and giving pork like crazy high quality stuff. So I'm bringing home some steak sauce too. They messed up the recipe last time. My guys messed up the steak sauce recipe because I guess they were just winging it without a recipe, and it didn't taste good, and it went bad really quick. So if you guys tried that steak sauce and didn't like it, please email me for a refund.
He says he has the highest quality products on the internet, and then he openly admits regularly that he sells inedible garbage.
It's hard to do quality control when I'm not tasting every single thing every day to make sure it's right. And I'm not really a master chef either, but I can tell when something tastes good. But this new batch of steak sauce that we made, we added a lot more shiitake mushroom to it,
It's delicious, dude. Big bowl of udon noodles with a lot of that steak sauce. Steak is fresh, and it's like immediately frozen, and we have these oxygen packets in there. It is so amazing, guys. I let this thaw out on my counter for like 3 or 4 hours before my dinner, and it was phenomenal. I was surprised. Brown parchment paper. It's similar to the Iberico pork.
Animal liberation. By the way, I was talking to my friend about whether women or men commit more domestic violence, and she sent me the FBI statistic that men commit 75 to 80% of severe intimate partner violence abuse. Yeah, that's severe. So, yeah, men are bigger and stronger. They're also more likely to own weapons. So, yeah, you would expect more severe cases where somebody's severely beaten or murdered. But when you look at the totality of intimate partner violence, women are far more likely to commit it. Those are nice bats. Wow, they really like that melon. Wow, those are good bats. I like bats. Wow, they're so good. Look at them sharing their melon. Oh, they are so happy. Look how happy they are with their melon. That's their melon. So good. That's really good. Oh, wow. He's so happy with his melon. Thanks, Animal Liberation. Rec donated $2. I'm sorry for asking dumb questions. How are you, though? I'm fine. Thanks, Rec.
That we put in the between sheets of parchment paper. I think I have something here I can show you guys. So, like in this fridge, when we put the Iberico pork between layers of parchment paper so it's easy to separate, well, yeah, no, that's the Iberico ham. That's what we did with the chicken cullets. So, you know, we pounded the chicken cutlet out, we put a sheet, and it's if you freeze it, if you freeze it like together without something separating the layers of chicken, when the customer goes to open it up and tries to thaw it out, if it's even a tiny bit frozen, they're going to stick together and rip each other. So hopefully that parchment paper makes it a little delicious sourdough breadcrumbs and throw it in the pan. It's delicious. You know, you can put bread as we'll have like meatballs available, meatballs, freeze them, and then vacuum meat so that the vegetables are cooked properly and bring a lot of flavor to it. I mean, if I was down here and healthier, I'd be getting them banged out every week myself. But you know, we just last week, you know, huge deal, mozzarella sticks. You know, highest quality raw mozzarella sticks made with sourdough breadcrumbs flavors. I have to still get the ravioli roller. Having an issue with the transportation break and pay the tariffs. That's what we're arguing about. I already have to pay that much for transportation. I'm just trying to get them to cut me a break on the tariffs and maybe pay the tariffs myself. But we have that pasta machine that's going to make different types of pasta. And then we have a ravioli machine that we're going to use the ravioli sheeter to make the ravioli process fully automatic. So we're going to make some, I've been wanting to make like a sweet potato, white bean ravioli. I have a really cool recipe I came up with. So we'll maybe do like 2 different types of ravioli. But that's just crazy stuff. Like no one else is doing anything like this, just making like really super high quality stuff. You know, just the selection of stuff we have on Pure Sourdough, from the breads to the baked goods to the sweets, is like, it's nothing short of phenomenal. No one else is making as high quality, as healthy stuff. And it might not be the prettiest product, but it does taste good and it is made well. It is made very well. I don't know. We'll see how things go over the next, I feel like I'm on repeat saying how things go over the next few weeks, but hopefully the next step is getting this potato chip machinery up and running and getting all this extra equipment out of here. So we should be in a much better spot a few months from now. Finally get, I mean, you know, there's probably been, I mean, all the mainstream potato chip companies have already copied my beef tallow
I have no idea how his business is still running. It's baffling.
chips idea. You know, Costco already has beef tallow chips, you know, before I'm even able to get my equipment set up. So, you know, the one lesson I've learned, and the main thing is, like, don't come out with ideas until you're absolutely ready for mass production. And even if you are ready for mass production, you're still not going to sell shit. Like, whenever I launch a protein bar, even if I have a few hundred of them ready, they just shadow ban AdSense for me and I don't sell them anyway. So
Nobody wants to buy your garbage because you're a fucking idiot and you sell gross shit.
really just better off keeping all my ideas to myself and saving them for a different lifetime.
Okay, well, Frank's dumb. Very, very dumb. So stupid. Ugh. Ugh. Fuck. God damn it. It's gonna rain again.
The long weekend comes with a risk for thunderstorms and the potential for heavy rainfall and localized flooding as high moisture drags into the area, taps into building atmospheric energy and that trigger mechanism.
Let me see. Son of a bitch. It's going to be dry most of the day. It's just going to rain in the evening. Apparently 2 a.m. thunderstorm. Oh, no, wait. Oh, no, it's raining all day. Fuck. What a load of bullshit. Fucking damn it. At least we don't have any forest fires over here. Wow. Wow.
Hi, I love you. I love you. Oh.
Cheese lettuce. Oh.
Hey, beautiful.
Wow. Oh.
Патрик,
Oh.
ты не белка. Слазь немедленно.
Stupid kids.
Did I scare
Oh.
you? Hi, buddy. What are you doing? Boop.
Oh. Kitties are so pretty. I love kitties. They're just good.
My name is Dr. Keith Nichols. Let's begin by reviewing the evidence demonstrating the decline in testosterone levels among men, as this provides important context for understanding the downward shift in laboratory reference ranges. This study by Travison is the first paper documenting the decline of testosterone levels in American men. This paper looked at the testosterone levels in 2,769 men aged 45 to 79 years born between 1916 and 1945, and over a 17-year period of time collected 3 sets of data. The first testosterone collection was 1987 to 89, the second 95 to 97, and the third 2002 to 2004. At baseline, which was 87 to 89, the median serum testosterone level was 501 nanograms per deciliter, and at the first follow-up it was 435, and at the second follow-up it was 391. This represents an age-matched decline of 1.2% per year. So a 60-year-old man in 2004 had a testosterone level about 20% lower than a 60-year-old man in 1987. He wrote, "We observe a substantial age-independent decline in testosterone that does not appear to be attributable to observed changes in explanatory factors, including health and lifestyle characteristics such as smoking and obesity." This study by Anderson, conducted on over 5,000 Danish men, shows that those born in the 1960s have on average 14% lower testosterone levels than males from the 1920s. In this study, published in the European Journal of Endocrinology, Over 3,000 men were divided into 6 age groups. They were also divided into 7 birth cohort groups according to their year of birth. What they found was that the serum testosterone levels decreased in men aged 60 to 69 years who were born in 1913 to 1922 from 631 nanograms per deciliter to 397 nanograms per deciliter in men aged 60 to 69 years born between 1942 and 1951. They also found that the serum testosterone levels decreased from 760 nanograms per deciliter in 20 to 25-year-old men born from 1942 to 1951 to 550 nanograms per deciliter in 20 to 25-year-old men born between 1970 and 1977. They wrote, in this study, we observed a clear age and BMI.
I hope you know it irritates the absolute fuck out of me when people ask in chat if I read chat. So I hope that answers your fucking question, asshole.
Independent birth cohort effect on serum testosterone concentrations measured in finished men. Our study is the third large population study to demonstrate a declining trend in serum testosterone of men in a similar fashion as seen in a USA and Danish population, which were the first 2 studies we reviewed. This study by Chodek looked at the testosterone levels in over 100,000 Israeli males between January of 2006 and March of 2019. At age 21, levels declined from 561 nanograms per deciliter in 2006 to 2009 to 511 nanograms per deciliter from 2016 to 2019. They wrote, the decline is unlikely to be explained by increasing rates of obesity. Many studies that we will be reviewing today use data from NHANES. NHANES is the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. NHANES is a national survey that measures the health and nutrition of adults and children in the United States. The CDC's National Center for Health Statistics conducts NHANES. NHANES is the only national health survey that includes health exams and laboratory tests for participants of all ages. The NHANES program began in the early 1960s, and since 1999 it has been conducted without interruption, which is referred to as continuous NHANES. Lokeshwar et al. Used NHANES data to look at the testosterone levels in over 4,000 adolescent and young adult men from 1999 to 2016. The average testosterone levels decreased from 605 nanograms per deciliter in 1999 and 2000 to 451 nanograms per deciliter in 2015 and 2016. They wrote, adolescent and young adult males' total testosterone levels are used as the benchmark for normal levels of total testosterone, and thus a decline in total testosterone in this population will cause a change in accepted normal levels of total testosterone in future decades.
I'm going to the barn. Great, see ya. Thanks, dude.
Clinically, this might lead to undertreatment of testosterone deficiency in the future. This paper by Santi reviewed the literature for studies that included testosterone measurements for any reason in healthy men between 1971 and 2024. 1,256 papers were reviewed, which consisted of 1,504 study groups and involved a total of over 1 million subjects with a mean age of 42 years. As you can see in these figures, there was a significant reduction in testosterone serum levels across the years of measurement for all age groups. They wrote, this analysis describes for the first time a significant decrease in mean total testosterone serum levels in over 1 million healthy men over the last 55 years. A significant reduction in testosterone serum levels across the years of measurement was observed, independent from BMI and age, suggesting a genuine testosterone increase. In summary, over the past several decades, men's testosterone levels have shown a pathological, age-independent decline that cannot be explained by obesity and is most likely driven by environmental factors. This pathological decline in testosterone has shifted the population's normal reference range downward, leading to a systemic underdiagnosis and undertreatment.
I think you meant, stay safe out there, sweetie. It's raining. And if you said that, I would have ignored you and then left.
That's nice. Take care.
Treatment of men experiencing symptoms of testosterone deficiency. The physiological need for testosterone has not decreased in modern men, but their production has. Let's now review the normal ranges for testosterone, free testosterone, and estradiol. Let's start with the normal range for total testosterone.
I'm just gonna go take a piss, get some more nicotine. Stretch my back out a bit. But I'll be right back. Yeah, I'd like to be a Viltrumite. That'd be dope. All right.
The way she just did not give a single fuck about you, even when you were trying to be kind and thoughtful, was just peak content. I miss those days, not gonna lie.
That's nice. Thanks, dude.
This study in 2006 by Lazarou, of which Abraham Morgenthaler was a co-author, looked at the reference ranges for testosterone in 25 different labs. What they found was that the low reference values ranged from 130 to 450 nanograms per deciliter, and the upper values ranged from 486 to 1,593 nanograms per deciliter. So for those of you that think a level of 1500 is somehow harmful or dangerous, a level of 1500 was normal in some labs in 2006.
Yep.
From 2011 to 2017, the normal range for testosterone at LabCorp was based on this study by Bazin that looked at healthy, non-obese young men in the frame.
Hey, Gum Gum. Oh. Oh, that's nice. I have a kitty sitting on me.
Framingham Heart Study. The reference range established for testosterone in this study was 348 nanograms per deciliter to 1,197 nanograms per deciliter. This 2017 study by Travison looked at the testosterone levels in 4 cohorts of men in the United States and Europe that were 19 to 39 years of age with a BMI less than 30. They cross-calibrated the assays used for each cohort against a higher-order method and calibrator developed by the CDC and then harmonized the local values to the CDC standardized measurements. The harmonized reference range for total testosterone in these men was 264 nanograms per deciliter to 916 nanograms per deciliter. In July of 2017, LabCorp revised its reference range for total testosterone from 348 to 1197 to 264 to 916 nanograms.
Yeah, you know why they did that? Some dork statistician just did it. No reason.
Nanograms per deciliter based on the Travison study. Now, how did this change affect men from a clinical standpoint? Between 2011 and June of 2017, a completely asymptomatic man on testosterone with a level of 1100 was told that his levels were normal and healthy. After the 2017 change, those same levels were reclassified as supraphysiologic and now considered potentially dangerous and harmful, leading to a decrease in dosage and potential recurrence of symptoms.
Yeah, fucking stupid.
Exactly what the Locust War study warned us could happen. These are the diagnostic thresholds for testosterone deficiency and treatment target levels across multiple guidelines. The International Society for Sexual Medicine, Canadian Medical Association, British Society for Sexual Medicine, American Urology Association, the Endocrine Society, and the European Association of Urology.
Yeah, they want you to be a beta male.
As you can see, there's no consensus on a threshold level of testosterone that defines testosterone deficiency, nor is there a consensus on target levels while on treatment. In the United States, the Endocrine Society guidelines are among the most widely recognized, accepted, and follows. The Endocrine Society requires a level of less than 264 for a diagnosis of hypogonadism, and the treatment target range is 350 to 600 nanograms per deciliter. Let's now question the current Endocrine Society guidelines using a threshold level of testosterone to diagnose testosterone deficiency, aiming for the mid-normal physiologic range, and maintain levels within the normal physiologic range during treatment. First question. Is there any evidence to support using a threshold level of testosterone, 264 nanograms per deciliter, to diagnose testosterone deficiency? This study by Zitman did not find a clear-cut threshold for late-onset hypogonadism. It did find that androgen-induced prevalence of loss of libido or vigor increased below testosterone concentrations of 15 nanomoles per liter or 432 nanograms per deciliter, which is well above the 264 nanograms per deciliter Endocrine Society threshold. This study by Scoville looked at 352 men complaining of low testosterone. Serum testosterone levels were collected on the same day that the men completed an androgen deficiency and aging male questionnaire, and what they found was that hypogonadal symptoms in men aged less than 40 years can be associated with a total testosterone level of less than 400. Decreased energy, sadness, decreased strength and endurance, decreased ability to play sports, and deterioration in work performance were most strongly associated with serum total testosterone levels of less than 400 nanograms per deciliter. Once again,
and again, if you go to your doctor and you get your levels checked, they'll tell you, oh, you're in the healthy range. There's nothing wrong with you. Perfectly normal. But then when you look at the research, yeah, the normal range, you're hypogonadal and you're going to be symptomatic. What a surprise. Okay, thank you. I wonder why people don't trust doctors. I wonder why there's a black market for fucking steroids. Gee.
Much higher than the 264 nanograms per deciliter Endocrine Society threshold. Threshold levels for the diagnosis of testosterone deficiency were discussed at the 2015 International Expert Consensus Conference in Prague, Czech Republic, and one of the resolutions was that there is no testosterone concentration threshold that reliably distinguishes those who will respond to treatment from those who will not. No study has revealed a single testosterone threshold that reliably separates those who experience signs and symptoms of testosterone deficiency from those who do not, nor who will likely respond to treatment. These are the difficulties with establishing a threshold for testosterone deficiency. Enter individual.
Well, guess what? I can guarantee you when you blast test, you'll feel a lot fucking different. So dumb. So dumb. It's one of the safest drugs you can possibly take. And they gatekeep it like crazy.
Individual variability between men. The magnitude of decrease in testosterone concentration in an individual is more important than the absolute value. Enter individual variability in SHBG levels. Genetic variations in androgen receptor sensitivity based on the length of the CAG repeat length. Enter individual variability. In this study by Kelleher, 52 hypogonadal men underwent 260 testosterone pellet implantations over a 5-year period. As the pellets dissolved, testosterone levels were measured when androgen deficiency symptoms returned in each man. And what they found was that the threshold for androgen deficiency symptoms occurs at a highly reproducible blood testosterone concentration in hypogonadal men. That is, men reach a distinctively individual trigger level for androgen deficiency symptoms and seek treatment at similar blood testosterone concentrations each time. Yet this trigger differs widely between men. Each person had a consistent testosterone threshold for androgen deficiency symptoms that differ markedly between individuals. This paper helps explain why one man may be significantly symptomatic at a testosterone level of 400, for instance, while another may be entirely asymptomatic. This individual variability is precisely why a single testosterone threshold should not be universally applied to all men. Magnitude of testosterone decline more important than absolute value.
That's a really annoying aspect of modern medicine. Doctors think that just because you're in the normal range for something, there's nothing wrong with you. You can be in the normal range for blood work, but it's not enough for you personally. And they literally cannot wrap their minds around it.
This 2011 study by Holm, published in Aging Male, found that change in testosterone concentrations over time is a better predictor of late onset hypogonadism than the actual concentrations of testosterone. Enter individual variability in sex hormone binding globulin. Variability in SHBG concentrations among individuals influences the concentration of free testosterone for any given total T concentration. The normal range for SHBG at LabCorp for young men aged 20 to 49 years is 16.5 to 55.9. In these young men, a high normal SHBG can result in a 45% lower free testosterone level than a low normal SHBG for the same total testosterone concentration, as shown in this example. A total testosterone level of 600 in a man with low SHBG results in a free testosterone level of 16.7 nanograms per deciliter. That same man, if he had a high SHBG of 55 with the same testosterone level of 600, would have a free testosterone of 9.26 nanograms per deciliter, 45% lower. The normal range changes for men greater than 49 years of age to 19.3 to 76.4. In this example, a high normal SHBG in older men resulted in a 57% lower.
That's another great thing about injecting test. It crushes your SHBG.
Free testosterone
so you have
level
massive
than a low
levels of
normal
free
SHBG.
test.
Now, these slides are not intended to suggest that sex hormone binding globulin should be lowered.
Where does bodybuilder blast start in your opinion? I'm doing 300 PW. What the fuck is PW? Should I be doing more for mass building? Take whatever dose of the drug you need. It's going to vary between individuals. I always recommend people start on what's basically a replacement dose of testosterone. So 20 milligrams test per day, either an enthate or cypionate, and then as needed, titrate up.
Their purpose is to simply illustrate that a man may have normal serum testosterone concentrations, yet still have a low free testosterone level.
I'm on 525 milligrams test per week, along with other steroids. 105 milligrams Boldenone, 140 milligrams Tren right now, and 210 milligrams Masteron.
Depending on his SHBG. Personally, I do not routinely measure sex hormone binding globulin because I assess free testosterone directly utilizing the equilibrium dialysis method. In cases of elevated SHBG, the most effective approach is not to lower SHBG itself, but to increase free testosterone by appropriately increasing the testosterone dose. Androgen receptor sensitivity based on CAG repeat.
My loads have been bigger since being on steroids. Oftentimes people report having smaller ejaculate volume. For me, it increased. I couldn't really tell you why, but yeah, for me it increased.
repeat length. I get asked all the time, what is a CAG repeat? Well, in order to understand a CAG repeat, we will need to review protein synthesis. Let's start with the definition of a chromosome. A chromosome is a thread-like structure composed of a single highly coiled molecule of DNA wrapped around proteins, known as histones, which stores genetic information. Humans have 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs, with 22 pairs of autosomes and 1 pair of sex chromosomes, the XX or XY. One set of the 23 chromosomes is inherited from the mother, and the other 23 come from the father. Chromosomes are made of DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA stores the genetic instructions necessary for building proteins and RNA. It consists of 2 antiparallel strands forming a double helix. DNA is a linear molecule composed of 4 basic building blocks called nucleotides. DNA nucleotides, also called bases, is a sequence of 3 DNA or RNA nucleotides that corresponds with a specific nucleotide and the body making the other 11. These are the RNA codons for each amino acid, copied to messenger RNA. Translation is the process by which a protein is synthesized from the information contained in messenger RNA, and then proteins are chains of amino acids. So we start with a gene, which is transcribed to messenger.
Oh yeah, Destiny is totally retarded on the Islam topic. And then, like, the Democratic Party's getting overrun by these Islamist commies, and then he just ignores it and says, Christians are worse? Like, how are they fucking worse? Like, it's just so fucking retarded.
Messenger RNA, which is then translated into amino acids, which create a protein. The androgen receptor gene is located on the X chromosome and encodes the androgen receptor protein consisting of 919 amino acids. Here's our chromosome. Here's a gene, which is a segment of DNA. And this is our gene here. The AR gene consists of 8 exons and 7 variable size introns. Introns are non-coding regions that do not directly translate into proteins, whereas exons are coding regions that contain instructions for protein synthesis. So here are our 8 exons. The androgen receptor protein consists of 4 structurally and functionally distinct domains. The N-terminal domain.
The channel name is Tier 1 Health and Wellness. I can just link it in chat if you want to take a look. You can watch it through on your spare time.
The DNA binding domain, the hinge domain, and the C-terminal ligand binding domain. So once again, we have the chromosome and then the gene, transcribed to RNA, translate it to the protein, which is the androgen receptor protein, with its 4 distinct domains: N-terminal domain, DNA binding domain, hinge region, and the C.
I'd actually be interested in getting a genetic test done to see how many like CAG repeats I have and shit.
Terminal ligand binding domain. In exon 1 of the androgen receptor gene, there is a stretch of DNA made up of the triplet CAG repeated over and over. Here is exon 1. Each CAG codes for the amino acid glutamine, so this region forms a polyglutamine track in the N-terminal domain of the AR protein. So once again, chromosome, gene, transcribed, translated into the AR protein. The number of CAG repeats in exon 1 gets translated and forms that polyglutamine track in the N-terminal domain here. The CAG repeat length is usually about 9 to 36 repeats and is genetically determined. Shorter CAG length equals greater androgen sensitivity. Longer CAG length, less androgen sensitivity. 2 men with the same serum testosterone levels can have very different biologic androgen effects depending on CAG length. That is the inter-individual variability in androgen sensitivity. Androgen status does not equate to serum testosterone alone. The CAG repeat length is a concrete example that the androgen status of an individual is not determined solely by the serum testosterone levels. Now, what literature supports CAG repeats and androgen receptor sensitivity? This study by Canale, an Italian man, is one of the foundations.
This is why some dudes on TRT, they need massive doses. I've seen doctors prescribe up to like around 800 milligrams of test per week for them to get symptom relief. So their androgen receptors are just extremely unsensitive. So like, again, when people tell you bullshit like, oh, you can't take more than like this amount of test on TRT, like it's just fucking retarded. It's about symptom relief, not about like just arbitrarily taking a certain fucking dose. So if you need more to get symptom relief, take fucking more.
Papers that looks at androgen.
And again, this is another reason why it's fucking stupid to go through a doctor, because doctors are fucking stupid and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like again, they just love arbitrary fucking numbers. If you have a testosterone score of like 350, oh, you're in the normal healthy range. There's nothing wrong with you, even though research shows that's hypogonadal. And especially if you're symptomatic, like it's just fucking stupid for them to say that. And then, even if they do give you TRT, oh, I'm not going to give you any more than like 200 per week. Like even though you haven't gotten symptom relief. So like, just don't fuck with doctors. They're idiots. Like if you break a leg or something in a car accident, yeah, they can fix your leg up. But when you actually want to be fucking healthy, doctors are the biggest fucking roadblock you can ever fucking have.
Receptor CAG repeat length and ties that to clinical hypogonadism despite normal testosterone levels. They investigated whether genetic variation in the androgen receptor could explain why some men have hypogonadal symptoms even.
Well, you do something special when you hit the 500 dono goal. Maybe I'll show you Gummy. I'll pick him up and show him to you.
When serum testosterone is normal. And they found that there is no significant difference in total testosterone between symptomatic men and controls, mean total testosterone of 40 to 40 nanograms per deciliter in both groups. Symptomatic men had significantly longer CAG repeats, repeat length of 24 plus or minus 2.9. Controls had shorter repeats, an average of 21.5 plus or minus 1.7. Genetic variations in androgen receptor sensitivity can influence androgen effects independently of testosterone levels. In this study by Liu in Taiwanese men, they asked the question, does androgen receptor sensitivity, CAG repeat length, modify the relationship between serum testosterone and andropausal symptoms? Andropausal symptoms are not determined by serum testosterone alone. AR CAG repeat length alone did not affect testosterone levels. AR genetics affect response to testosterone, not production. A total testosterone less than 340 nanograms per deciliter, the men were symptomatic regardless of androgen receptor CAG length. That is because androgen deficiency overwhelms receptor effects. A total testosterone greater than 340 nanograms per deciliter, then the AR CAG length becomes decisive. Men with a CAG length of greater than 25 had 2 times higher odds of andropausal symptoms despite normal testosterone levels. Again, above the 264 nanograms per deciliter.
Well, yeah, literally. Like, dude, we were just reacting to a fucking doctor earlier who was like warning against peptides. This guy is like fat as shit. He's fucking, he's probably in the morbid obese category. And then like he's saying, peptides are dangerous, don't take them. It's like, okay, but Oreos are fine, right? Like, fuck you. Doctor, like, they're just fucking jackasses. So yeah, if your doctor tells you a bunch of horse shit, just say, yeah, how much do you bench, faggot?
Required for a diagnosis of hypogonadism by the Endocrine Society. To summarize the clinical significance, androgen receptor sensitivity indexed by CAG repeat length becomes clinically relevant only when testosterone is in the normal range. Low testosterone causes symptoms regardless of receptor sensitivity, and normal testosterone requires a sensitive receptor to feel normal. Normal testosterone is not biologically normal for everyone. Testosterone thresholds are population statistics, not individual physiology. In men with normal testosterone levels, androgen receptor sensitivity, not serum testosterone, determines symptoms. We have now reviewed difficulties with establishing a threshold for testosterone deficiency, and they included
This is a great video. It's 4 hours long. I wish people would actually watch it. But yeah, it's great.
Individual variability between men, the magnitude of decrease in testosterone concentrations in an individual.
What do you say to people who say elevated test increases risk of prostate cancer? So, one, men with low testosterone actually tend to have higher risk of prostate cancer. So when you look at men who are hypogonadal, they're at higher risk than men at the top of the reference range. Secondly, the androgen receptors in your prostate are saturated at very low levels. So if you have a like testosterone score of like 400, basically your prostate is already fully saturated with androgens. Adding more to your system isn't going to fucking do anything. And all the androgen receptor sites in your entire body regulate themselves. So if there's an influx of androgens that they don't want, they'll just downregulate. So the only exception is muscle. Muscle tissue, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to have that effect. If you just keep blasting gear, you're just going to grow more and more. But yeah, receptor sites throughout your entire body, they regulate androgens. If there's too much, they downregulate. If there's not enough, they upregulate. So it doesn't have any effect on prostate cancer.
Individual is more important than the absolute value. inter-individual variability in sex hormone binding globulin levels, and genetic variations in androgen receptor sensitivity based on the CAG repeat length. You should now have a more clear understanding of the limitations associated with the Endocrine Society's reliance on a single universal threshold for diagnosing testosterone.
Okay, we'll skip a bit ahead.
Supraphysiologic testosterone levels. Do they impair sexual function or cause other symptoms attributable to estrogen excess? The effects of supraphysiologic doses of testosterone on muscle size and strength in normal men. This is a study by Bazin that looked at normal men treated with 600 milligrams of testosterone enanthate for 10 weeks. He stated, supraphysiologic doses of testosterone, especially when combined with strength training, increase fat-free mass and muscle size and strength in normal men. In this study, estradiol was not measured or managed, and testosterone levels exceeded 3,000. No differences were found between the exercise groups and the no exercise groups, or between the placebo groups and the testosterone groups in any of the 5 subcategories of anger assessed by the multidimensional anger inventory. No significant changes in mood or behavior were reported by the men on the mood inventory or by their live-in partners, spouses, or parents on the observer mood inventory. Acne developed in 3 men receiving testosterone and 1 receiving placebo, and 2 men receiving testosterone reported breast tenderness, but no other side effects were noted. No sexual side effects reported. Here's the published paper specific to the effects of supraphysiologic doses of testosterone on mood and behavior.
So again, if people tell you testosterone makes you angry and violent, total made-up, fabricated myth. I literally think it's probably bullshit made up by feminists.
Physiological doses of testosterone, when administered to normal men in a controlled setting, do not increase angry behavior. These data do not exclude the possibility that still higher doses of multiple steroids might provoke angry behavior in men with pre-existing psychopathology. Our study failed to detect any significant effects of testosterone treatment on mood or the subsets of angry behavior examined. No estrogenic effects on mood or behavior reported. We've already viewed the findings of the Bazin study, testosterone dose response relationships in healthy young men in detail, but now let's look at the reported adverse effects. Hemoglobin levels decreased significantly in men receiving the 50 milligram dose, but increased at the 600 milligram dose. The changes in hemoglobin were positively correlated with testosterone concentrations. Changes in plasma HDL cholesterol were negatively dependent on testosterone dose and correlated with testosterone concentrations. 2 men in the 25 milligram group, 5 in the 50 milligram group, 3 in the 125 milligram group, 7 in the 300 milligram group, and 2 in the 600 milligram group developed acne.
It's funny only 2 in the 600 milligram group developed acne.
I've been asking for years for someone to provide a study or studies where testosterone therapy was associated with erectile dysfunction. No one has provided me with one, so I guess I'll do it for them. This was missing on the first slide, but at the bottom you'll see 1 man receiving the 50 milligram dose reported decreased ability to achieve erections. In the Bazin dose response study in young men, 1 participant in the 50 milligram group reported decreased ability to achieve erections. It did not occur in the higher dose groups where testosterone and by extension, estradiol would have expected to rise the most. Therefore, it is not reasonable to attribute that isolated complaint to testosterone-induced estradiol excess.
No,
because men in the
never
50
coming
milligram arm
off.
experienced a significant reduction in serum testosterone from a baseline mean of 566 nanograms.
There's only 2 times I technically came off. It was only for 2 weeks. I had a problem with water retention. It was related to a thyroid issue. I came off of all steroids for 2 weeks just to see if it would help. It didn't do anything. It wasn't until I treated the thyroid problem that it went away. And then when I visited Australia, I didn't inject anything for 2 weeks. But again, I'd still have the drugs in my system because of the half-life.
Per deciliter to 306 nanograms per deciliter during treatment. Given that estradiol production in men is largely derived from circulating testosterone, estradiol exposure in this group would also be expected to decrease rather than increase. This isolated erectile complaint is more appropriately interpreted as occurring in the setting of relative androgen and estrogen reduction, not excess estradiol exposure. Back to the study by Bazin that we have reviewed in detail earlier in the lecture. To refresh your memory, it was a randomized controlled trial.
I haven't noticed steroids aging my face. People have not seen my channel for like 5 years, if not more. And then they randomly see me, and yeah, I'm 5 years older. I'm gonna look older. But compared to a year ago, like I can't say I look any fucking different. Like as far as like skin texture, quality, or anything like that, I don't notice any difference. I'm leaner, so usually when you're leaner, yeah, you're gonna have more lines on your face, but That would be the case with like any fucking age.
In healthy men with normal testosterone levels aged 18 to 50 years for 20 weeks. They were given testosterone and anthate at 50, 120.
I'm just on T4 thyroid, Synthroid.
300 or 600 milligrams per week. Each dose was paired with either placebo or dutasteride at 2.5 milligrams a day, and there were 8 treatment groups.
Tiger Dinner Tillers, your commentary on steroid peptide testosterone is some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. You completely ignored or reject any literature on the subject and hypocritically overly rely on anecdotal evidence, aka your own experience. Happy to debate. Sure. Do you want to debate now? I can open up Discord. And I don't rely on anecdotal evidence. When it comes to peptides like BPC, yeah, no shit. There's really only anecdotal evidence, but I'm not making the same claims about some of these peptides as I am with does that link work? Wait, maybe that's the wrong one. Oh, wait. Yeah, that... Give me a second. See if that link works. Come debate me, faggot. Every time somebody says, debate me, and then I open Discord, they're not there. So, whatever. I'll wait.
And here's what you've been looking for, hidden in the supplementary data. Let's exclude the testosterone plus dutasteride group, since we know 5-alpha reductase inhibitors are known to cause erectile dysfunction in some men, and instead focus on the testosterone-only treatment group. Decreased libido was reported in 3 men in the 50 milligrams per week.
Okay, somebody was in the waiting room.
Dose, 2 men at 125.
Yeah, click the second link. I'll just delete the first link.
Milligrams per week. 2 men at 300 milligrams per week, and 1 man at 600 milligrams per week. Erectile dysfunction was reported in 1 man at 50 milligrams per week, 2 in the 125 milligram group, and 1 in the 300 milligram group, and no men in the 600 milligram group. Delayed orgasm was reported in 1 man in the 300 milligram per week group, and anejaculation was reported in 1 man in the 125 milligram per week group. Similar to the previous study, the testosterone levels in the 50 milligram group significantly decreased from a mean baseline level of 697 nanograms per deciliter to 385 nanograms per deciliter, and estradiol would be expected.
I've been out in the sun a little bit, but I'm taking melanotan. That's the primary reason why my skin's darker.
To decrease accordingly. Again, testosterone and estradiol reduction, not estradiol excess, is a more plausible explanation for the
Tiger, I'll shoot you an email to set up a debate, as I don't do Discord screaming child debates. I'm not debating you then. Don't even bother sending me an email. You're just wasting my time.
Adverse sexual effects in this group. Interestingly, the 600 milligram per week group had the least sexual complaints. Is estradiol to blame for these adverse sexual symptoms in the 125, 300, and 600 milligram dosage groups, or is it possibly secondary to something else? Let's find out. Before we discuss potential explanations, let's review normal sexual function. Normal sexual function is a balance between excitatory factors and inhibitory factors. The excitatory factors include the sex steroids, testosterone, DHT, and estradiol, dopamine, oxytocin, melanocortin, and norepinephrine. The inhibitory factors include serotonin, opioids, endocannabinoids, and prolactin. We're now going to review the mechanism of action of some of the medications used in the treatment of sexual dysfunction. Addie, flibanserin, is FDA approved for the treatment of hypoactive sexual desire disorder in both premenopausal and postmenopausal women. It's used off-label in men. It's a centrally acting postsynaptic serotonin 1A receptor agonist and a serotonin 2A antagonist that produces a decrease in serotonin activity and an increase in dopamine and epinephrine activity in brain pathways associated with sexual desire. Vyleesi, bremelanotide. It's FDA approved for the treatment of premenopausal women with acquired generalized hypoactive sexual desire disorder. It's used off-label in men. It's a melanocortin receptor agonist which non-selectively activates melanocortin 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 receptors. Activation of the melanocortin 4 receptor modifies brain pathways involved in sexual response and stimulates the release of dopamine. There is no medication for delayed ejaculation or anorgasmia that is FDA approved. But Table 3 includes a list of medications that have been used in the medical literature for treating delayed ejaculation and anorgasmia.
Proprion, Wellbutrin. Really? Weird. I was on Wellbutrin. I can't say it helped with sexual function. That just made me fucking miserable. Cabergoline definitely works. Oxytocin, that makes sense. Pseudoephedrine kind of makes sense. And ephedrine. Yohimbine, that's a weird one. Interesting.
They include cabergoline, Wellbutrin, oxytocin, Buspar, ephedrine, yohimbine, amantadine, apomorphine, just to name a few. The strongest mechanisms in the treatment of delayed ejaculation and anorgasmia are to increase dopamine, reduce serotonin-mediated inhibition, or increase sympathetic tone. Cabergoline, for instance, increases dopamine and suppresses prolactin. Wellbutrin increases dopamine and norepinephrine. Buspar, a partial serotonin agonist at serotonin 1A receptors. Pseudoephedrine increases norepinephrine. Epinephrine also increases norepinephrine. Amantadine increases dopamine. And apomorphine also increases dopamine. Let's now look at the inhibitors of...
I know they're like, I've seen dudes in the biohacking space, like Tony Huge is a huge fan of cabergoline. I can say for sure cabergoline definitely helps, just because of the amount of people who take it and have a dramatic effect from it.
Sexual function. Prolactin. In men, hyperprolactinemia is most often the cause of low libido and erectile dysfunction. High prolactin levels suppress the pulsatile release of hypothalamic gonadotropin-releasing hormone, leading to decreased production of LH and FSH, resulting in decreased testosterone production and impaired spermatogenesis. Men with hyperprolactinemia have sexual dysfunction even when testosterone is still in the normal range, which suggests testosterone-independent central effects. There is also evidence that prolactin may directly inhibit erectile function, not just indirectly through low testosterone. Prolactin levels of greater than 35 nanograms per milliliter have been associated with a more than 10-fold increased probability of reporting hypoactive sexual desire. Serotonin. Serotonin acts on
Yes, I count calories. Right now I'm on 1850 a day.
the smooth muscles of the vascular system of the genitals and other sexual organs to produce vasoconstriction and vasodilation. In the central nervous system, it has an inhibitory role on erectile function, lubrication, and sexual interest. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors impair ejaculatory and orgasmic function and frequently inhibit erectile function, lubrication, and sexual interest. Medications that increase serotonin, such as SSRIs, are well known for their sexual side effects. SSRI-related sexual dysfunction is estimated to affect between 30 and 70%.
If you have, what is it, it like, what do you call it when you have a super sensitive penis and you like come instantly during sex? Pre-ejaculatory syndrome or something. The standard treatment is to give an SSRI to reduce penile sensitivity for guys who just come way too fast.
Of users. Common symptoms include genital anesthesia, where there's a decrease in sensation and numbness in the genital area, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, pleasureless or weak orgasm, delayed ejaculation, anorgasmia, and nipple insensitivity. I have personal experience with the sexual side effects associated with these medications. When my colleagues attempted to treat my hypogonadism with multiple SSRIs, I experienced many of these adverse effects firsthand. These are the American Urology Association guidelines for erectile dysfunction, as well as for disorders of ejaculation. It's important to point out that no medication used in the treatment of hypoactive sexual desire disorder, erectile dysfunction, or delayed ejaculation and anorgasmia lower estradiol as a mechanism of action. No current guidelines include lowering estradiol as a treatment recommendation. The hormonal regulation of men's sexual desire, arousal, and penile erection, recommendations from the 5th International Consultation on Sexual Medicine, was published in Sexual Medicine Reviews in 2025. They recommended clinicians should consider that both androgen receptor and estrogen receptor cooperate in the regulation of male sexual desire. Clinicians should consider not prescribing non-aromatizable androgens or aromatase inhibitors to treat low desire in hypogonadal men. Clinicians may consider the role of estrogens on erectile function still controversial. Clinicians should not consider estrogen measurement in the assessment of erectile function. There are those that continue to make unsupported claims that estradiol impairs erectile dysfunction, but those claims are based on observations, not interventions. The brakes on sex, not estradiol. Testosterone increases serotonergic activity in the central nervous system, and in a small population of biologically susceptible men, it can contribute to sexual side effects. The incidence is only a small fraction of that seen with SSRIs, which are far more potent. But even if the prevalence is only 1 to 2%, that still represents 10 to 20,000 affected men for every 1 million men on testosterone. These are the men who tend to populate internet forums and online discussions seeking help, not the 98 to 99% of men without symptoms. As I mentioned on the previous slide, I experienced these symptoms when I first started testosterone therapy, and they weren't as severe, but very similar to what I experienced when I was placed on SSRIs. Let's now look at a few studies on the relationship between testosterone and serotonin. This study by Perfalk, testosterone levels in healthy men correlate negatively with serotonin 4 receptor binding. It involved 41 healthy men, ages 20 to 56. It evaluated if serum levels of estradiol and testosterone were associated with serotonin 4 receptor binding as imaged by a PET scan. Serotonin 4 receptor binding is used as a marker for overall serotonin tone. Higher serotonin 4 receptor binding equals lower serotonin activity, serotonergic tone. Lower serotonin 4 receptor binding equals higher serotonin activity, serotonergic tone. Higher serum testosterone levels are associated with lower global serotonin 4 receptor binding, indicating higher serotonergic tone. Serum estradiol levels had no effect on global serotonin 4 receptor binding. Now, there's question marks behind that sentence, and we're going to take a closer look on the next slide about why those question marks are there. As I continue, in the brain, testosterone can act on androgen receptors, or it can be aromatized to estradiol that acts on estrogen receptors. Estrogen beta receptors are located.
The worst of the fitness industry videos are just really fucking hard to make, dude. That's basically why I haven't done them in a while.
In the serotonergic neurons, where androgen receptors are not. Thus, any effects of testosterone on serotonin signaling would be mediated by indirect mechanisms or by its aromatization to estradiol. Cumulative evidence supports a link between sex hormones, in particular estradiol and testosterone, and serotonin signaling. Reducing the amount of estradiol by aromatase inhibition leads to reduced serotonin levels in terminal axon regions. Thus, one mechanism by which androgens could affect serotonin levels is through its effects on estrogen receptors after conversion to estradiol in the raphe nuclei. The current findings are consistent with the decrease in serotonin levels observed in animals after inhibition of aromatase, suggesting that testosterone is necessary for keeping serotonin levels high. The positive association between peripheral testosterone levels and central serotonin levels observed here supports the notion that testosterone may have a protective effect on depressive mood by mechanisms involving serotonin. With regard to the statement, serum estradiol had no effect on global serotonin 4 receptor binding. Now we can put what you've learned about the limitations of measuring serum estradiol to good use. Why do you think that serum estradiol was not associated with increased serotonergic tone, but testosterone was? The absence of serotonergic association between circulating estradiol and serotonin 4 receptor binding should not be interpreted as evidence that estradiol is biologically irrelevant to central serotonergic tone. Remember, testosterone is an endocrine hormone in men, and estradiol is predominantly endocrine and paracrine. Serum testosterone better reflects the androgen substrate available to the brain for direct androgen effects and for local aromatization to estradiol. Estradiol in the brain is made locally and not fed by serum levels. Serum estradiol does not equate to brain estradiol signaling. Serum estradiol is a weak proxy for tissue-level estradiol signaling. It reflects circulating levels, not tissue levels. This helps explain why two men with similar serum estradiol levels may have very different clinical experiences, and why some men with levels perceived as high remain asymptomatic while others report symptoms. Serum estradiol was the wrong compartment to measure for the question being asked. The key issue is compartment mismatch. Serum was measured, but the relevant biology occurs within tissues. The lack of association between serum estradiol and global serotonin 4 receptor binding reflects a measurement limitation rather than proof that estradiol is unimportant in serotonergic tone. A simple way to view it is serum testosterone enters the brain, undergoes local aromatase conversion into estradiol, which binds to the estrogen receptor, and then generates serotonin system effects. And this is further supported by the next study. In this study by Ryberg, they evaluated the contribution of circulating sex steroids to the levels in the cerebrospinal fluid. And what they found was for all sex steroids except estradiol, strong associations between corresponding cerebrospinal fluid and serum levels were observed. There was no correlation between estradiol in the cerebrospinal fluid and estradiol in serum. Once again, there was no correlation between estradiol in the cerebrospinal fluid and estradiol in serum. Serum testosterone serotonin directly contributes. The sexual dysfunction that a small percentage of men experience on testosterone is directly related to serotonin. It is not estradiol. It has contributed to erectile dysfunction. If you reduce testosterone by nearly 50% in healthy eugonadal men, the appearance of erectile symptoms in some participants is not surprising. It's physiologically predictable. In the higher dose groups, testosterone rose substantially above baseline, increasing serotonergic tone beyond the threshold tolerated in susceptible individuals and thereby contributing to erectile dysfunction. The lower dose and higher dose groups exhibited similar symptoms, but the underlying mechanisms were different. In other words, same different symptoms, different causes. Now let's discuss the treatment options. Treatment options include discontinue testosterone therapy, medication management, give it time to resolve, lower testosterone dosage, treatment of choice. Discontinue therapy. When a medication-related adverse effect occurs, clinicians should discuss all reasonable management options, including discontinuation of therapy. Even if discontinuation is not the best option, the patient should be given the opportunity to make an informed decision. The use of testosterone can be divided into 3 basic categories. Medical use.
Usually take 10 milligrams of a mix of THC and CBD if I want to get zooted.
Use, misuse, and abuse. Medical use is testosterone therapy for the treatment of testosterone.
No.
Deficiency symptoms or hypogonadism. Discontinuation not recommended in this group. Misuse is testosterone therapy without symptoms of testosterone deficiency or hypogonadism. Just everyone else is doing it, so I thought I'd do it. Abuse is testosterone therapy in high doses purely for performance enhancement purposes.
I don't know how the fuck that would constitute abuse. So if using something for performance-enhancing purposes equates to abuse, does that mean exercise equates to abuse if you're using exercise for performance-enhancing purposes? Like, it's fucking stupid.
Now, I would not recommend discontinuing testosterone therapy when it is being used for a legitimate medical indication. However, in individuals using testosterone for non-medical purposes, discontinuation can be a reasonable treatment option. For the first 2 years after starting testosterone therapy, I took them and I prescribed them. Like many of you, I had heard and read that this is how testosterone therapy is supposed to be. Thank you. The AI cycle. I was this guy. Testosterone therapy. Increased testosterone. Hey, Dr. Nichols.
Okay, I think he's just going over the whole thing.
Testosterone. Beliefs versus science. Final thoughts. First, it was testosterone. Now it is estradiol. For decades, testosterone was feared as a driver of prostate cancer, not because the evidence was strong, but because a flawed interpretation of 1941 data was repeated until it hardened into medical doctrine. When Dr. Abraham Morgentaler re-examined the foundation of that belief, he discovered that it had never been supported by solid medical evidence. The use of aromatase inhibitors in men on testosterone reflects the same problem. It was never established by strong clinical evidence showing better outcomes. Instead, it was adopted first as belief, then repeated as practice, and eventually defended as though it were science. When the evidence is actually examined, the scientific support is not there. This is how myths survive in medicine. Fear creates them, repetition normalizes them, and dogma protects them. Like the testosterone prostate cancer myth, the claimed need for aromatase inhibitors in men on testosterone was never built on scientific truth, but on fiction, repeated until it was mistaken for fact. I'll leave you with a quote from Dr. Morgentaler regarding the use of aromatase inhibitors in men on testosterone. It's a belief, not science. Dr. Abraham Morgentaler. Thank you for your time and attention. And
it's a really based video. All right. Oh man. Dude, Battletoads has given me PTSD. I gotta practice, but I don't want to do it. Do injuries in general heal faster on test? Yes, they do. Yeah, recovery in general improves. I do not look like Will Smith from I Am Legend. You're a fucking retard. Oh. I don't know how long I can fucking handle doing this. Oh my god, this is just so fucking painful. Dude, just the music on the stage drives me fucking nuts. Damn it, oh my god, I always do that. We're really fucked without that baton.
Really sad how your life fell apart ever since Jasmine dumped you and you had to start taking steroids to feel better. You get no pussy now. You used to get pussy once every month or two when you were married to Jasmine. Now you get zero pussy.
I'm like, fitter, healthier, and I can keep more of my money than ever. So, what the fuck? Please explain to me how that makes any fucking sense. Ah, fuck. I hate this fucker. I'm on a tight budget right now. The only foods I'm eating are rice, beans, oats, potatoes, followed by protein powder. Also, would you rather be under a dictatorship under Candace Owens or Hassan Piker? Well, Candace Owens. Hassan would just kill everybody. But good luck with that. Thanks, Son Goku. Fuck me. Oh, we're really fucked. I've got that part down pretty well. Like, dude, it's just... That's fucking insane. Like, that is so fucking absurd. It just, like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense to your brain. Why am I not able to... I'm literally not... Oh. Oh. Oh my god.
Pat will take all your money, it's just a matter of time.
Dude.
And you barely get any pussy for it. You already spent like $3,000 to $5,000 just visiting her. Jasmine wasn't even that expensive, since you are still living in the house regardless. It was just some food.
That's nice. And then it jumps fine. Like, this game just wants to fuck with you. Oh boy. Yeah, that makes no fucking sense at all. Oh man, we're so fucked here. Oh my, and yeah. Dude, just eat shit. Like, it's so weird. It just decides which ones you can run and which ones you can't. Oh my god. It's really true. It's so hard to explain just how hard this is. Oh shit. Oh yeah, you had to, oh my god. I forgot you had to... Oh. Oh man. This is just relentless. Oh yeah, this fucking thing. Suck my ass. Oh my god. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I'll give it one more try. We're making progress. I mean, I think the strategy of just not torturing myself completely and utterly and just playing little bits of this game at a time is a good strategy. Oh my god, yeah. Okay. I think that's enough. Just we made a lot of progress. I think we're like 2/3 through the level, if not more. So we should be able to like just beat this final boss and then start doing full runs. I feel like I've got a really good handle on it now. But yeah, that game's fucking AIDS. Holy shit. AVGN has done a video review on Battletoads. What would you do if you're president? Ban me, legalize machine guns, deport all the Muslims. Alright, that'll be it for tonight. I'll be on tomorrow. My shoulder's a little sore. I'm hoping it's just a little post-workout soreness. I hope I didn't fuck it up again and make it worse, but yeah, if my shoulder's good tomorrow, we'll do a workout live stream, train back. I just got to go to the store, get some groceries. Once I'm done with that, I'll just start up a workout stream. And then, you know, do the usual later in the day.